58%. Chapter 281. Tiankai Clan Mother. Chapter 281. The middle door of the mechanical barrier was wide open, and Qin Sheng led the warships under his command into the mechanical barrier, together with the main ship of the Saint Malin's Council. After entering the mechanical barrier, it was Qin Sheng's first glimpse inside the mechanical barrier. It can be said to be a well-deserved space city, with all the facilities. In addition to the combat readiness facilities, there are many residential areas, and even 6 planets are wrapped in mechanical barriers, forming a set of self-adaptive planets. These 6 planets are terrestrial planets that are extremely suitable for human survival. The entire mechanical barrier is like a ring, like a huge Dyson ball, but it is countless times more delicate than the Manson ball. There is a control center every 30,000 kilometers, which is deployed as a combat unit on the entire arrangement of the mechanical barriers, and the interior is based on these 6 planets. Out of the ecological zone. I have to say that this ancient civilization really enjoyed it. And when entering the core area of the mechanical barrier, a collapsed star and a black hole with a diameter of nearly 30,000 kilometers, connected by several blue crystal conduits, continuously transmit power to the entire mechanical barrier, and then transmit it to all regions through the optical pump. It seems that if you want to get to the 7th level civilization, you need to thoroughly grasp the powerful force in the black hole. Whether it is the Xuanyuan creation that was transformed by the demon of face beneath him, or the mechanical barrier in front of him, it seems that they all draw power from the black hole. And this mysterious power in the black hole, even the current Qin Empire has not yet fully deciphered it. This power is the basis for the formation of void source crystals, and it is also the basis for the development of sea erosion purple light energy. Now it is the source of this mechanical barrier that can operate countless star wheels. Qin Sheng seems to have opened up a new world, a road leading to the 7, the ultimate road to super civilization. Emperor, there is something strange. Just after the great Qin Empire stepped into the mechanical barrier, AILA sent a message. Qin Sheng blinked. After seeing the news, an unpredictable smile appeared on his face. On one side, Nova also blinked and looked at the Emperor. What happened? In this mechanical barrier, there is still a Leviathan, a top-notch Leviathan. After hearing the news, Nova and Chu Xin looked at each other, and both saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. Mother Tiankai. Chu's heart skipped a beat. Mother Tiankai. Nova's teeth were also trembling, as if he heard something extremely terrifying. Qin Sheng looked at the reaction of the two, and was a little puzzled. Why, you also know this Tiankai clan mother? Hearing this, Nova smiled wryly. It's more than knowing that the mother of the Tiankai clan has disappeared for thousands of stars, and the entire Tiankai clan has fallen into riots, wreaking havoc on the entire universe for thousands of years. Chu Xin nodded. Countless star systems have been defeated, countless civilizations have been destroyed, and in the end there is still no news about the Tiankai clan mother, and all the Tiankai have gradually disappeared into the universe. Unexpectedly, this Tiankai clan mother was actually sealed in the mechanical barrier. Quote. Hearing such news, Qin Sheng was still a little shocked. It is recorded in the research records of the transformation of interstellar biological battleships that as long as the mother of the Taijankai clan is completely transformed into a biological battleship, she will control the entire Taijankai clan. As the queen of the Taijankai clan, the mother of the Taijankai clan Tijankai has a strong control over everything. From natural repression, Qin Sheng rubbed his chin and said, Go and see the mother of the Tiankai clan. Arriving at the depths of the mechanical barrier, densely packed steel pillars pierced the body of the Taijankai clan mother, and the Taijankai clan mother, who was as huge as a jellyfish, was imprisoned in the mechanical barrier for an unknown number of years. Looking at the giant in front of him, Qin Sheng couldn't help sighing in his heart. I've been silent here for countless years, I'm afraid you are also extremely desperate. In a trance, Qin Sheng's mind was filled with roars, be me. Opening square bracket. Qin Sheng's body shook, and the voice was exactly the same as the voice Qin Sheng heard in the treasury of the Vice Hall of the Holy See. Although the Tiankai clan mother in front of her eyes is slightly different from the phantom she saw in the treasury back then, her appearance is 90% similar. It's you, Qin Sheng questioned, and the voice of the Tiankai clan mother once again appeared in Qin Sheng's mind. Quote. Hearing this extremely weak voice, Qin Sheng didn't have time to think about it. Using the mechanical barrier in his hand to operate the compass, he removed the steel pillars that sealed the Tiankai clan mother, and the Tiankai clan mother's body was still suspended in the air. In the void, she couldn't move at all, and the banning of countless Xingjilans made the mother of the Tiankai clan on the verge of collapse. At this moment, the mother of the Tiankai clan was unable to use any power at all. Qin Sheng suppressed the throbbing in his heart, took out all the void source crystals he had left at this time, and handed them to the Tiankai clan mother to devour. After receiving the supply of void source crystal, the Tiankai clan mother obviously recovered a little energy, and her breath was not so weak. Looking at the giant in front of Qin Sheng, the idea of using whispers of the void and iron heart to assimilate dual control flashed through his mind, but it was fleeting. Compared with the demons of the plains, the psionic energy of the Tiankai mother is as vast as the ocean, and the gap between Qin Sheng and it is like a natural moat. The Tiankai clan mother swayed her figure, fell slowly, and finally piled up into a small ball in the mechanical barrier, as if she had fallen into a dormant state. Before that, the voice of Tiankai's mother once again echoed in Qin Sheng's mind. "Thank you for saving my life. I need to rest for a while, and please help protect me." Quote. Looking at the Tiankai clan mother who looked like a hill in front of him, Qin Sheng smiled wryly and nodded. "I didn't ask Qian Nuo's question." The Tiankai clan mother in front of her seemed to be slightly different from the giant shadow she saw in the treasury back then, and the two did not seem to be the same. But when the last piece of news came back, there was no more movement. After Qin Sheng looked at it for a while, he ordered people to guard the surroundings and notify himself immediately of any turmoil. Leaving the depths of the mechanical barrier, Qin Sheng sent Long Mo and Ella to escort Mohan and Man Luo up. Looking at the two people in front of him, a playful smile flashed in Qin Sheng's eyes. "2 times and 3 times to trouble me, how many heads do you have?" Qin Sheng looked directly at Man Luo, who had a sneer on his face. "You dare not kill me, my father is." Boom. When Man Luo's words just sounded, Man Luo flew up half of his body, with a hint of astonishment on his face. Qin Sheng's hands surged with psionic energy, and a look of disdain flashed in his eyes. 59%. Chapter 282 Trial of the Anger of the Holy See, the God of Life takes action. Chapter 282 Trial of the Anger of the Holy See, the God of Life strikes. The middle door of the mechanical barrier was wide open, and Qin Sheng led the warships under his command into the mechanical barrier, together with the main ship of the Saint Malin's Council. After entering the mechanical barrier, it was Qin Sheng's first glimpse inside the mechanical barrier. It can be said to be a well-deserved space city, with all the facilities. In addition to the combat readiness facilities, there are many residential areas, and even 6 planets are wrapped in mechanical barriers, forming a set of self-adaptive planets. These 6 planets are terrestrial planets that are extremely suitable for human survival. The entire mechanical barrier is like a ring, like a huge Dyson ball, but it is countless times more delicate than the Manson ball. There is a control center every 30,000 kilometers, which is deployed as a combat unit on the entire arrangement of the mechanical barriers, and the interior is based on these 6 planets. Out of the ecological zone. I have to say that this ancient civilization really enjoyed it. And when entering the core area of the mechanical barrier, a collapsed star and a black hole with a diameter of nearly 30,000 kilometers, connected by several blue crystal conduits, continuously transmit power to the entire mechanical barrier, and then transmit it to all regions through the optical pump. It seems that if you want to get to the 7th level civilization, you need to thoroughly grasp the powerful force in the black hole. Whether it is the Xuanyuan creation that was transformed by the demon of face beneath him, or the mechanical barrier in front of him, it seems that they all draw power from the black hole. And this mysterious power in the black hole, even the current Qin Empire has not yet fully deciphered it. This power is the basis for the formation of void source crystals, and it is also the basis for the development of sea erosion purple light energy. Now it is the source of this mechanical barrier that can operate countless star wheels. Qin Sheng seems to have opened up a new world, a road leading to the 7, the ultimate road to super civilization. Emperor, there is something strange. Just after the great Qin Empire stepped into the mechanical barrier, AILA sent a message. Qin Sheng blinked. After seeing the news, an unpredictable smile appeared on his face. On one side, Nova also blinked and looked at the Emperor. What happened? In this mechanical barrier, there is still a Leviathan, a top-notch Leviathan. After hearing the news, Nova and Chu Xin looked at each other, and both saw the astonishment in each other's eyes. Mother Taijankai. 403 inches. Chu's heart skipped a beat. Mother Tiankai. Nova's teeth were also trembling, as if he heard something extremely terrifying. Qin Sheng looked at the reaction of the two, and was a little puzzled. Why, you also know this Tiankai clan mother? Hearing this, Nova smiled wryly. It's more than knowing that the mother of the Tiankai clan has disappeared for thousands of stars, and the entire Tiankai clan has fallen into riots, wreaking havoc on the entire universe for thousands of years. Chu Xin nodded. Countless star systems have been defeated, countless civilizations have been destroyed, and in the end there is still no news about the Tiankai clan mother, and all the Tiankai have gradually disappeared into the universe. Unexpectedly, this Tiankai clan mother was actually sealed in the mechanical barrier. Quote. Hearing such news, Qin Sheng was still a little shocked. It is recorded in the research records of the transformation of interstellar biological battleships that as long as the mother of the Taijankai clan is completely transformed into a biological battleship, she will control the entire Taijankai clan. As the queen of the Taijankai clan, the mother of the Taijankai clan Tijankai has a strong control over everything. From natural repression, Qin Sheng rubbed his chin and said, go and see the mother of the Tiankai clan. Arriving at the depths of the mechanical barrier, densely packed steel pillars pierced the body of the Taijankai clan mother, and the Taijankai clan mother, who was as huge as a jellyfish, was imprisoned in the mechanical barrier for an unknown number of years. Looking at the giant in front of him, Qin Sheng couldn't help sighing in his heart. I've been silent here for countless years, I'm afraid you are also extremely desperate. In a trance, Qin Sheng's mind was filled with roars, help me. Qin Sheng's body shook, and the voice was exactly the same as the voice Qin Sheng heard in the treasury of the Vice Hall of the Holy See. Although the Tiankai clan mother in front of her eyes is slightly different from the phantom she saw in the treasury back then, her appearance is 90% similar. It's you, Qin Sheng questioned, and the voice of the Tiankai clan mother once again appeared in Qin Sheng's mind. Help me. Hearing this extremely weak voice, Qin Sheng didn't have time to think about it. He manipulated the compass through the mechanical barrier CICF he got in his hand, and removed the steel pillar that sealed the Tiankai clan mother, and the Tiankai clan mother's body still suspended in the void, but unable to move at all. The banning of countless Xingjilans made the mother of the Tiankai clan on the verge of collapse. At this moment, the mother of the Tiankai clan was unable to use any power at all. Qin Sheng suppressed the throbbing in his heart, took out all the void source crystals he had left at this time, and handed them to the Tiankai clan mother to devour. After receiving the supply of void source crystal, the Tiankai clan mother obviously recovered a little energy, and her breath was not so weak. Looking at the giant in front of Qin Sheng, the idea of using whispers of the void and iron heart to assimilate dual control flashed through his mind, but it was fleeting. Compared with the demons of the plains, the psionic energy of the Tiankai mother is as vast as the ocean, and the gap between Qin Sheng and it is like a natural moat. The Tiankai clan mother swayed her figure, fell slowly, and finally piled up into a small ball in the mechanical barrier, as if she had fallen into a dormant state. Before that, the voice of Tiankai's mother once again echoed in Qin Sheng's mind. Thank you for saving your life, I need to rest for a while, please help protect me. Looking at the Tiankai mother who looked like a hill in front of her, Qin Sheng smiled wryly and nodded, no problem. The Tiankai clan mother in front of her seemed to be slightly different from the giant shadow she saw in the treasury back then, and the two did not seem to be the same. But when the last piece of news came back, there was no more movement. After Qin Sheng looked at it for a while, he ordered people to guard the surroundings and notify himself immediately of any turmoil. After leaving the depths of the mechanical barrier, Qin Kong sent Long Mo and Aila to bring Bo Han and Luo Shishan up. Looking at the two people in front of him, a playful smile flashed in Qin Sheng's eyes. 2 times and 3 times to trouble me, how many heads do you have? Qin Sheng looked directly at Man Luo, who had a sneer on his face. You dare not kill me, my father is. Boom. When Man Luo's words just sounded, Man Luo flew up half of his body, with a hint of astonishment on his face. Qin Sheng's hands surged with psionic energy, and a look of disdain flashed in his eyes. At the moment when this surge of psychic energy emerged, Mohan's eyes also flashed a touch of disbelief. Although Chu Xin and Nova on the side were a little unexpected, they seemed to be expected. For Qin Sheng, the man Luo in front of him had provoked him for the second time, and now that he was dying, he even dared to speak out. It is naturally impossible for Qin Sheng to save such a clown. Half of Man Luo's body fell to the ground, his internal organs were scattered all over the floor, and the light in his eyes began to fade. Why do you? Qin Sheng looked at Man Luoshi indifferently in front of him, raised his foot, and stepped on Man Luoshi's head without hesitation. With a muffled sound, the high-ranking judge civilized died on the spot. Looking at the tragic scene in front of him, Mohan's body trembled like a sieve, His head was lowered and his eyes were rounded, and he couldn't help thinking, how dare he? How dare he? Manro's status is not low. Among all the 6th-level peak civilizations, his identity is not a secret. She is the daughter of the god envoy of judgment. It is precisely because of this that Manro can have such a high status in the civilization of judges. High status. Although it doesn't have any mind at all, it can't provide any help to the civilization of the Holy See. The dispatches these few times were also made by the god of judgment to build momentum for Man Luo, but they did not expect to provoke Qin Sheng, a stubborn stubble. Qin Sheng's spiritual energy surged all over his body, rolling up the mess on the ground, and turned into nothingness under the surge of spiritual energy. What kind of civilization is the saint? Myron's council. Qin Sheng touched his chin and asked in a low voice. Mohan's body shook. He raised his head stiffly, looked at Qin and said, "No, I can't." When Mohan's voice had just risen, Qin Sheng pointed out that at the same time as the light was shining, iron heart assimilation completely transformed Mohan into a silicon-based creature, and Mohan also transformed into Qin Sheng's most loyal subordinate. As the light dissipated, Mohan's appearance also changed greatly, and he bowed respectfully in front of Qin Dao. "Greetings to the Emperor, the Y." Qin Sheng smiled. Instead of interrogation and torture, assimilation with Iron Heart is the simplest and most effective way. In the end, Qin Sheng learned everything about the saint. Malin's counsel from Mohan, who had transformed into a silicon-based state. The saint, Malin council is an extremely mysterious existence even in the 6th-level peak civilizations. Although it is similar to the teachings of the judgment of the Holy See, and there are often exchanges between the two, many 6th-level peak civilizations believe that Street Malin the Saint, Myron's council is a subsidiary civilization of the judgment of the Holy See, but in fact the saint Malin's council and the judgment of the Holy See are evenly matched. Today, the council of Saint Malin's and the judgment of the Holy See are all vassals, and the real main force is the ancient civilization of the God of Life. The civilization of the Great Qin Empire can only be solved by the Court of Life. It is precisely for this reason that the Saint Myron's Council and the Judgment Holy See have not taken action against Qin Sheng for such a long time after the alliance. It was also accidental. If the Mechanicus were not looking for mechanical barriers, the confrontation between the two might be postponed to a longer future. As for the power of the God of Life, it is impossible for the Council of Saint Malin's to speculate, and the civilization it controls may have reached the ultimate place of this Fang universe. In addition, Qin Sheng also got an extremely important piece of news from Mohan. The core leading to the ultimate universe is the real power to master time and space. Interstellar travel always spans over space, but space and time are inseparable from beginning to end, and time and space are more accurate terms. However, due to technical limitations, all space transitions are carried out in a fixed time unit, so it can be understood that no matter how far the space transition is, or how close the space transition is, it needs to be done in a fixed time unit. Completed. Only in this way can a space-time balance be achieved. But if you want to break through the ultimate universe, you need to thoroughly grasp the laws of time and space, so that you can reverse time. The reversal here is not traveling through time, but a reversal in a simple sense. For example, the creation of a battleship. If you travel through time to the past, it may reach the timeline when the battleship is half manufactured, or the timeline when the manufacture has just started, or even the timeline where the manufacture has not yet begun. But the reversal is to reverse the time directly in a fixed time and space, and reverse the process of the warship from scratch, that is, to disintegrate and disperse a warship from existence to nothing. Such a reversal weapon is the core of the 7-level civilization. Science and technology. But to achieve this point, it is infinitely more difficult than the weapon of causality. For the universe today, speeding up the flow of timelines and making time and space faster is already a technology that can be mastered by a 6th-level civilization. But reversing the timeline is a 6th-level text. Ming is far beyond reach. Among the special devices mastered by the demon of the plane, there is a modification of the universe film that restricts the speed of light, which is to reverse from the level of the speed of light, and to enter in a retracted state. Go back in time and space at the level of the cosmic membrane, and complete the timeline reversal in a small range. However, although this device is equipped, the current demon of the plane is far from reaching the level where it can be used perfectly. This process needs to devour a large number of void source crystals to improve Zan's level. The strength of Yuan Shuangxi. It has to be said that a member of the Saint Myron's Council has a reserve of knowledge and a higher level of top civilization thought that Qin Kong has yet to touch. As for the two allies I have won over, one of the nether dragons is an extended civilization of Leviathan, and the level of technology they have mastered has even just reached the initial stage of the 6th level civilization, but the power it possesses is comparable to the pinnacle of a 6th level civilization. The Nova civilization is a fledgling civilization of only a few thousand years, so naturally it cannot compete with a natural civilization like the Saint Malin's Council. Flower boards are on a par. Qin Sheng rubbed his chin. Why don't we find more heads of 6-level peak civilizations and assimilate them with Iron Heart? In this case, I always feel that decades are enough for me to step into the world. Level 7 civilization. Quote. Chu Xin on the side saw the change in Mohan's attitude towards Qin Sheng before and after, and became more and more curious about this man, but she just saw Qin Sheng's expression at this time, and she was delicate and thoughtful for the first time. In no time, he guessed what Qin Sheng was thinking. Terrible thought, Chu Ta thought, while Qin Sheng was digesting and assimilating all the information he got from Mohan. In the Holy Sea of Judgment at this moment, the face of the God of Judgment was extremely cold. In his hand, a piece of azure energy crystal symbolizing Man Luo's destiny lost its brilliance. 59%. Chapter 283. The True Face of the Angel, Qin Sheng's Preparation. Chapter 283. The True Face of the Angel, Qin Sheng's Preparations. The warships of the 4 major civilizations gathered together, but in the end, only the Death Watch and Mechanicus were the ones who fled. All the warships of the Holy See were destroyed, and Manro died in the hands of Qin Sheng. As for Mohan, at this moment, he has become the most loyal believer of Qin Sheng's subordinates. In the Council of St. Malin's, a group of figures dressed in robes of envoys and their faces covered by the huge hood stood in a row, and they were further discussing the plan for Qin Sheng. The original intention of the 4 major civilizations is not to have any intersection with the great Qin Empire for the time being, and they all know the methods of Qin Sheng, and it is not a difficult strategy to win over and divide. Moreover, the joining of the Void Dragon clan and the Nova Legion did not surprise the 4 major civilizations. In other words, the current predicament of the Nova Legion and the Void Dragon clan is well known to all advanced civilizations in the universe. Reason to join Qin Sheng's lineup. As long as it can hold back the great Qin Empire, and wait for the ancient titans to descend from the Divine Court of Life, they will use the Divine Court of Life as the center to annihilate the great Qin Empire. But this encounter was not in the plan of the 4 major civilizations. After all, even if the Holy See was to be judged, there was no way to forcibly monitor and lock the Xuanyuan Genesis regardless of the time and place. Naturally, it had no way of knowing where Qin Sheng was. The Divine Court of Life intends to summon the ancient god Yachuo this time. The ceremony has already been carried out for more than half, and it will take about 9 months before the ancient god Yachuo can completely come to this Fang universe. If Mohan didn't die now, he might have turned his back on him. It is estimated that the plan between you and me has been fully revealed by him. It doesn't matter, this is a conspiracy. Even if the Great Qin Empire knows about it, so what? I still don't believe that the Great Qin Empire can step into the universe and get a glimpse of its mysteries. If not, even if it is a taboo technology, the power of Yater cannot be stopped. At the same time, in the trial of the Holy See, the god envoy of judgment had a gloomy face, and he couldn't see joy or sorrow, but the pulsating psionic energy fluctuations all over his body just showed the envoy of judgment's resentment. His own daughter was killed, and it was also the Great Qin Empire, which he had already vengeful with. At this moment, the god of judgment wished he could directly chop Qin Sheng into pieces. At the same time, the almost paranoid god of judgment even developed hatred for Deathwatch and Mechanicus, who had fled before the battle. He hated why these 2 civilizations didn't take action to save his daughter, and hated why the Mechanicus was looking for mechanical barriers. Today's judgment god envoy has completely lost his mind, and there is only a thin line between the whole person and the verge of madness. On the shining golden throne, the envoy of the judge didn't say a word, but the spiritual energy around him changed subtly. The holy brilliance on it gradually lost its brilliance, replaced by violent killing intent, as if the fig leaf had been torn off, completely revealing its true appearance. The god of judgment has long been unknowingly influenced by the power in the subspace. This is also why the god of judgment can draw energy from the subspace unscrupulously like Qin Sheng. Korn instills paranoia and rage all the time, and Zinch is hypnotizing the judgment angel, making him think it is his talent. Slanesh used all kinds of power and joy to influence the mind of the god of judgment, while Nurgle showed his divinity, covering the spirit of the god of judgment, just like a god. The four great evil gods have already started manipulating a big banner since the succession of this generation of god envoys of judgment. Originally, if Qin Sheng hadn't intervened, the god of judgment would have influenced the structure of the entire universe under the guidance of the final step by step, but now with Qin Sheng intervening, the subspace can no longer wait for the layout. The most important thing now is it was through the hand of the god envoy of judgment to solve Qin Sheng's trouble. The god of judgment made the aura around him more violent, but he himself didn't notice it at all, but unknowingly, his hatred for Qin Sheng became stronger. In the mechanical barrier, Qin Sheng is sitting in the living area of the mechanical barrier. Under the transformation of the tactical figure, this place has become like a paradise, with everything you need. Today's Qin Sheng can be regarded as completely controlling six planets that can move with the movement of the mechanical barrier. Emperor, Matriarch Taizhengkai has awakened. Long Mo sent the news that it was Long Mo who was stationed beside Tiankai's mother at this time. After receiving the news, Qin Sheng got up and traveled a short distance to the Tiankai's mother through space transmission channels. At this moment, this huge black and red creature that looks like a jellyfish has already glowed. Thank you, Your Excellency, for saving me. I have been imprisoned here by the ultimate civilization for 6,000 celestial wheels, and the power I originally possessed is absolutely insignificant. If another celestial wheel passes, I will complete death here. I will always remember your life-saving grace, but can you grant me a request now? The voice of the Tiankai clan mother once again emerged in Qin Sheng's mind, and Qin Sheng nodded, but it's okay to say. Please let me go. I'm going to look for my clansmen. I don't know if my clansmen still exist in this universe in the time of 6,000 stars. I will definitely thank you for your kindness, but not now. Quote. 0. Qin Sheng chuckled. What kind of request is this? I have no intention of imprisoning you here. Let's go, but 6,000 star cycles have passed, and the universe has changed a lot. Be careful. 11. Thank you, sir. When the voice of the Tiankai clan mother fell, the Tiankai clan mother's entire body seemed to turn into a liquid, and gradually merged into the cosmic membrane in the void, and finally disappeared. Qin Sheng didn't have any idea about this Tiankai clan mother. Now that he has mastered the mechanical barrier and the demon of the plane, at least in terms of Leviathan, Qin Sheng has no more needs. The main reason is that the mother spirit of the Tiankai clan is extremely powerful. Even if the current strength is less than 1/10,000th of the peak, it is definitely not something that Qin Sheng can use the whisper of the void to bewitch. There is no guarantee that it will be a heartfelt Leviathan, and there is no need to forcibly lock it here. With the departure of the mother of the Tiankai family, Long Mo blinked. Although he was puzzled, he did not ask. How far has the Void Dragon clan's bio-warship transformation plan progressed? At the last moment, it only needs the neurons in its body and the biotechnology equipped to respond. Long Mo replied that after Mingkong Tongshin was sent back, the Void Dragon clan continued to transform the battleship without stopping. This will help in the future. Qin Sheng has already sensed something is wrong from Mo Han's mouth. I am afraid that the God of Life is about to be the most powerful enemy Qin Sheng has ever encountered in this life. 59%. Chapter 284 Raid Subspace. Chapter 284 Assault on Subspace. Even though Qin Sheng has now stood at the pinnacle of the 6th level civilization, he still doesn't have any understanding of everything about the God of Life. It seems that all the literature and ancient books are avoiding these ancient civilizations. They never use pen and ink to promote these ancient civilizations. At this moment, Qin Sheng didn't know anything about the God of Life, and didn't even know how to solve this trouble. On this day, Qin Sheng chose to summon Nova and Chu Xin. The transformation of the Void Dragon clan has come to an end. With the help of Qin Sheng, the Nova Legion has also overcome the difficulties at this time. It is time to fight back against the Trial Holy See. Do you know the details of this life court? Qin Sheng asked straight to the point in 697, and Chu shook his head. The Divine Court of Life is mysterious and unpredictable. Since it was launched 2,000 stars ago, it has never emerged in the universe. We don't know exactly how powerful it is, but I have personally witnessed the battle before the 2,000-star Ji-Lun. A gigantic object with a single eye that is comparable to a star can shatter the gap between the two planes with a flick of a finger against the starry sky, and when half of its body is stretched out, it fills tens of thousands of light years. In the star field, the giant palm easily wiped out the entire enemy fleet, as if crushing a group of ants. After a pause, Chu Xin continued. the divine cord of life seems to be the medium left by the ancient titans in this universe, and together with the bond between the two, the divine cord of life in this universe is nothing thing. Even in the 6th level peak civilization, the life god cord is definitely not that powerful, but what is really strong is the ancient ultimate civilization that it relies on. Quote. On the side, Nova also nodded and said, although I haven't seen the god of life attack, it is also recorded in the ancient books of my ethnic group that the ancient ultimate civilization is the last blooming of technological development, and since then there has been no ultimate civilization. Civilization is born. The god of life is the backhand of the ultimate civilization left in this universe, in case the god of life fails in a higher plane. Since the existence of such a higher plane, after the development of countless stars, it is now there is absolutely no way you and I can fight now. Quote. Qin Sheng did not refute Nova's words. From Chu Xin's description, Qin Sheng can already guess how powerful the ultimate civilization that the life god cord is backed by is. The front of the Titan is just like a worm, which can be crushed easily. It has to be said that the Trial Holy See really thought of a lot of means to deal with itself. Isn't this the same as what I have seen on Earth before? Is it the same reason for the ignorant people to summon Cthulhu? Qin Sheng couldn't help chuckling and shook his head. After a while, Qin Sheng said in a deep voice, then what we need next is to strengthen our troops. I learned from Mohan that even if the god of life wants to summon the ancient titans also need time, at least at this stage there is enough time for us to breathe. Chu Xin, I will send more people into the forbidden area of your Void Dragon clan to transform the biological battleships. Your Void Dragon clan has no shortage of resources, and try to build as many Void Dragon clans as possible in a short period of time. Nova, next I need to enter the subspace to find the Void Source Crystal to strengthen the Xuanyuan Genesis, and I need your company for this. Quote. As soon as this remark came out, Nova was stunned. Enter the subspace. Although he knew that Qin Sheng seemed to have some kind of special power that could isolate the invasion of the subspace, Nova had never thought about actually entering the subspace. Only enough void source crystals can make Xuanyuan creation develop rapidly. Now that Qin Sheng has reached the pinnacle of the 6th level technology, even the system's 10,000-fold increase in rewards will rarely bring any benefits to Qin Sheng. What they are facing is also level 6 technology, and even if the enemy's battleship is defeated, no better technology can be obtained. However, the source of dimensionality can now be applied to the technological transformation of the Xuanyuan Genesis, which is outrageously rare. When he started to regard the demon of the plane as his flagship, the improvement brought about by the reward of 10,000 times was very little, or it started when Qin Sheng reached the pinnacle of the 6th level civilization. At this stage, Qin Sheng can only get a lot of benefits by obtaining the Void Source Crystal and the 10,000 times reward increase. The second is to break through the restrictions of the 6th level civilization and step into the ultimate. Qin Sheng has a slight premonition that after entering the ultimate civilization, the system is about to usher in a new round of transformation. It may not be a change in the reward multiple, but a deeper transformation. Treasures such as Void Source Crystals are extremely rare in the present universe. Only by entering the subspace can we obtain enough Void Source Crystals, and the Xuanyuan Genesis can only gain power by devouring Void Source Crystals. At this stage, only entering the subspace is the only way for you and me to solve the immediate troubles. Of course, if you are worried that this trip will never come back, you can also follow the Nova Legion to station at the mechanical barrier, and it's fine for me to go alone. After Qin Sheng's voice fell, Nova waved his hands again and again. Then you underestimated me, why should I be afraid? With you here, I don't have to worry about being swallowed by the subspace, so what's the difficulty in killing all four? After receiving Nova's response, Qin Sheng chuckled and looked at Chu Xin. Speed up the transformation of the Nether Dragon battleship, and at the same time, this mechanical barrier also needs to be controlled by you. I may lose the direction of time during this trip. Come back in a few days, and it is also possible to win 5 years. There is a huge gap between the subspace and the flow rate of the present world. I can't guarantee this. How can the Life God Court come up before I come back? Just abandon everything and go back to the Void 5.6 Dragon Forbidden Land to protect myself. No problem. Qin Sheng didn't intend to bring Anviria Yeshuang and others with him on this trip, because the purpose of this trip was very simple, to collect enough Void Source Crystals to make Xuanyuan Genesis even more powerful. Under Qin Sheng's planning, all the tactical humanoid girls will assist in the transformation of the warships of the Void Dragon clan, and at the same time provide scientific research assistance. After everything was planned, Huan Sheng began to plan to enter the subspace with Nova. With the help of Nova, Qin Sheng can save a lot of trouble. As the demon of the plane opened the light hole transition, Qin Sheng began to look for the eye of the subspace opened in the universe. Not long after, Qin Sheng caught a spatial fluctuation, which was the strange power of the subspace. Go, let's raid the subspace. 59%. Chapter 285 Subspace Journey. Chapter 285 Subspace Journey. When Xuanyuan Genesis spewed out tongues of fire, the dark purple stream of light shot into the eye of the subspace like bullets, and countless chaotic demons melted instantly, and the Xuanyuan Genesis plunged into the eye of the subspace without looking back. Internal. In the bursts of spatial torrents, the Xuanyuan creation produced great fluctuations, and Qin Sheng circulated the Emperor's halo, wrapping the Xuanyuan creation. When renovating the Xuanyuan Genesis, Qin Sheng did not choose to carry the subspace space transition device together, because the material form of the demon of the plane is different from that of ordinary warships, and this type of space transition device will be invalid. Now only this is the stupidest way possible. The endless space torrent wanted to tear apart and completely destroy the Xuanyuan Genesis, but fortunately, there was no danger. Even if it entered the spiritual realm from the material realm, the Xuanyuan Genesis still had no impact. On the battleship, the sleeping Elise also slowly woke up. When the majestic spiritual power surged, she held Xuanyuan Genesis 28 and moved forward in this spiritual field. The space also became stable, and an abnormal scene appeared in Qin Sheng's line of sight. This place does not belong to any evil god, but belongs to the void territory in the subspace, an area that has not been controlled. In the gap formed at the junction of the two spaces of the material realm and the spiritual realm, a large area of bright light mirrors the difference between the two worlds, and under this fault, the illusion condensed in the spiritual realm is presented in the Qin Sheng's line of sight. It was truly illusory, as if looking at a paint bucket fused with several colors of paint, distorted and weird. Qin Sheng rubbed his chin. This was the first time Qin Sheng had traveled in subspace in a true sense. Of course, the purpose of this trip is not to lay down the entire subspace, but to collect enough void source crystals. Elise, can you leave the positioning coordinates in the subspace? Can you directly cross the gap between the material and spiritual realms next time and make a space transition? Qin Sheng thought for a moment, then asked slowly. It took only a moment for Elise to reply to Qin Sheng, yes. The demon of the plane is worthy of being a creature of a more advanced plane. Even the span between the material realm and the spiritual realm in this Feng universe is not a problem. In this way, Qin Sheng is equivalent to mastering another form of subspace transition device, leaving positioning coordinates in the subspace, and it can be said that it is easy to cross the boundary between the two realms in the future. Qin Sheng searched for the existence of this void source crystal along the way, and left positioning coordinates at a suitable location. At the same time, Qin Sheng was also deliberately avoiding the capture of subspace forces. Now the entire subspace is looking for traces of Qin Sheng, wishing to get rid of Qin Sheng and hurry up, even though Qin Sheng doesn't know this, but in this subspace, it's no harm to be more cautious in the past. The no man's land of the subspace is extremely vast, and here Qin Sheng also discovered another thing that surprised Qin Sheng. Even in the subspace, the Xuanyuan creation can still cover the four-dimensional space, that is to say, even in the spiritual realm, the differences in dimensions still exist. Knowing this, Qin Sheng couldn't help but began to ponder in his heart, the material form of the demon of the plane is almost immune to any weapon attack in this world, is it also the same in this subspace? If so, then Qin Sheng can't wait to find trouble with Zinch even now. But this unclaimed land is indeed boundless. Qin Sheng has been traveling in this subspace for about 3 days, but he still hasn't seen any territory belonging to the evil god. Qin Sheng even wondered for a moment, whether he had already been influenced by one of the 4 evil gods the moment he entered the eye of the subspace, and at this moment he was just going around in circles in an illusory illusion. But in the end, this idea was rejected by Qin Sheng, because it is impossible for Elise to have problems with her perception. Elise can clearly perceive that in this unclaimed land, there is no spirit body, breathing. The demon of the plane does not possess any spiritual power, but the small body that it splits out has extremely powerful spiritual power, which is not inferior to what Qin Sheng felt on Carlos' body back then. In other words, in a sense, in terms of mental strength, Elise is a top existence. Even if the evil god is extremely powerful, Elise, who is comparable to the 7th level monster, will not be able to perceive the other 6th level and 5th level monsters, and this piece of unowned land does not have any power attributes. In 3 days, Qin Sheng collected a few scattered void source crystals that were only the size of fingernails. Under Elise's guidance, Qin Sheng was able to easily capture these voids hidden in the extremely narrow gaps in the space. Source crystal. Under the 10,000-fold reward increase, even a void source crystal the size of a fingernail can become as big as 3 or 4 heads, but of course, it is still nothing compared to the one that Qin Sheng obtained from Daihao civilization back then. The original piece was under the 10,000 times reward increase, but it turned into a remnant of void climbing sin. Qin Sheng also knows that in this subspace, there are real void spawns. And this void evil is the best experience baby. If Qin Sheng can manipulate the demons of the plains to devour and absorb a 980 void evil, Qin Sheng believes that through the void evil, he can make the Xuanyuan creation under him the world has ushered in a great change. Emperor, it seems that the chaos demons here can also be used as nutrients. Although they are extremely rare, they are better than nothing. After a while, Elise's voice sounded again, and Qin Sheng touched his chin, recalling that when he was facing the Slanesh General Stika, Qin Sheng also felt a trace of the void from Stika. With the breath of the same source of evil, I thought I would gain some power after killing Stika, but after completely defeating Stika, Qin Kong didn't get any notifications for Guanping's rewards. Now it seems that the big guy, the demon of the plain, needs to swallow these chaotic demons himself in order to obtain the power of climbing evil from the void. As Qin Sheng thought about it, a continent slowly appeared in front of his eyes. In Qin Sheng's memory, this continent does not belong to any evil gods. The land of corn should be violent and bloody, Zinch is illusory and untrue, Slanesh is full of endless desires, and Nurgle is the land of plague. However, this piece of continent seems calm and unharmed, like a piece of earthly land suspended in the void. Go and have a look. Qin Sheng immediately decided to come to this land to see what was different. 59%. Chapter 286 I haven't seen you for a few days, so why? Chapter 286 I haven't seen you for a few days, so why? There was no aura on this abrupt continent that made Qin Sheng feel dangerous, and at the same time, so did Elise's response. Nova next to him was staring at the continent, looking for all of this that might affect the existence of Xuanyuan Genesis, but obviously, this continent is almost an empty plain. Just like that, it was inexplicably suspended in the profound realm of nothingness. It has to be said that it is really rare to have such a pure land in the subspace. When the Xuanyuan creation landed on it, Qin Sheng was wearing the Great Qin Empire armor, and under the support of the purple light energy, he slowly left the Xuanyuan creation and landed on the mainland. The land here looks like a rock, but when Qin Sheng stepped on it, it was extremely soft, like a wet lawn. Looking around, the continent is about 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers away, and the demon of the plain has already arrived. Occupies a small part, except for the area where Qin Sheng is located, the rest of the area has no biological breath. Qin Sheng rubbed his chin. In this spiritual realm, there is a huge gap between everything and the material realm. For a continent of 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers, Qin Sheng can see the end at a glance as long as he thinks about it. It is even said that on this continent, if Qin Sheng wants to move his position, he only needs one thought, and when the thought arises, he has already done the thing synchronously, without having to manipulate the physical body to execute it. Such a mysterious feeling made Qin Sheng a little bit hard to extricate himself. It can even be said that everything he can feel in this subspace is more beautiful than in this world. After a while, Elise and Nova also came down from the Xuanyuan Genesis, feeling the energy in this subspace. Nova couldn't help sighing. Here, I'm afraid a pig can cultivate a spirit you can come. Qin Sheng chuckled. Unfortunately, not everyone can enter the subspace. Nova nodded heavily. Although he didn't know how Qin Sheng did it, Qin Sheng alone could ignore the invasion of the subspace power and the pollution of evil gods, and walk directly in the subspace like a chaotic demon. 1 point is enough to convince Nova. Feel the energy in this subspace at will, and you can get the psionic energy obtained by comprehending for dozens of days in this world. This kind of feeling makes Nova a little bit unable to stop. The subspace is not the same dark and chaotic. On the contrary, compared with the present world, the subspace is more colorful. After all, it is a domain composed of various spiritual forces in this world. Compared with the material domain where everything is substantial, this subspace looks more like a utopia, and everything serves to make the spirit more happy. Elise, leave the positioning coordinates here, and at the same time cover this continent with the power of the demon of the plain. In the future, this will be our first stronghold in the subspace. After Qin Sheng had thoroughly explored the continent, he gave Elise instructions, which she readily followed. At this moment, about several million kilometers away from Qin Sheng, a huge figure is rushing towards this continent. It's Qin Sheng's old acquaintance, Ramek. The Zinch demon who dragged Qin Sheng into the subspace back then was the first existence that Qin Sheng had encountered that could manipulate cosmic strings. In the subspace, the chaos demons mostly exist in an ordinary state, and their bodies are not much bigger than ordinary people, but Ramek, who is galloping, has a panicked face, and his body has also turned into a huge strange bird. It is generally exaggerated in this world, but even so, it can still be seen that Ramek seems to have suffered a crisis. Escape to the Pure Land, and that lunatic will not dare to go out to me easily. Ramek thought so in his heart, and he never thought that he would be hunted down by the Slaanesh demon just after leaving Zinch's territory. After stepping into the present world from Stika, and then being destroyed together with the body in the subspace, Slaanesh has separated from the Zinch forces. From Slaanesh's point of view, this is Carlos' trick. He wants to let his generals die while he reaps the benefits. Because of the difference in time flow, although only a few days have passed in the outside world, nearly 10 years have passed in the subspace. These 10 years have made the friction between Zinch's forces and Slaanesh's forces more and more intense. Now it is almost as long as the opponent's big demon leaves his own sphere of influence, he will be hunted down immediately. There is a huge difference in the speed of time between the spiritual realm and the material realm. 1 day in this world may be equivalent to 1 day in the subspace, or 10 years in this world may be equivalent to 1 day in the subspace, or they may be reversed. There has never been a definitive statement. The time-velocity ratio of. This is the case for Ramek, who just left the range of Zinch's forces and wanted to find some void source crystals in the land of no man, but was hunted down by the forces of Slaanesh. At this moment, only the Pure Land can save him. Quote. What kind of monster is that? Across a distance of hundreds of thousands of kilometers, Ramek could already clearly see the location of the Pure Land, but at this moment there was a foreign object with a length of 3,000 kilometers on the Pure Land. Even though Ramek was the Chaos Demon, couldn't help asking such questions. In the subspace, nothing like this has ever been seen. In the chaotic subspace, only the Pure Land has strict rules and regulations. For example, the first rule is that no fighting is allowed on the Pure Land. The second point is that if there are already other chaos demons on the Pure Land, they will no longer be able to protect the latecomers. Go away, things. Ramek let out a roar, and the sound waves roared out, sweeping up a storm in the space, and falling straight to the Pure Land. This blow didn't have any killing intent. It could ignore the rules of Pure Land Qian Wangs, and fell on Qin Sheng and others, and its purpose was to use this gust of wind to roll up this monster and send it to the land of no man among them, so that Ramek can fall into it and avoid Slaanesh's pursuit. Yo, isn't this Ramek? See you in a few days. 7. At this moment, above the Pure Land, Qin Sheng has also noticed this big guy. Behind him, there were several chaotic demonic powers at the same time, and Qin Sheng knew what was going on as soon as he met him. Qin Sheng, you dare to enter the subspace, you are looking for death. Ramek's eyes widened and he screamed. Qin Sheng grinned and entered the Xuanyuan Genesis under the package of purple light energy. I don't know whether I will die or not, but after that, I'm afraid you are fine. Alive. When the starting point of the ascent of the Xuanyuan creation pitted high Zigwang, despair rose from the bottom of Ramek's heart. 60%. Chapter 287-25 Sun Ramek. Ramek couldn't understand why Qin Sheng appeared in the subspace. At this moment, the entire subspace is in turmoil, and it is precisely Qin Sheng who caused the turmoil. However, at this juncture, Qin Sheng dared to enter the subspace with great fanfare. Isn't this a dead end? But in the current situation, with the extremely violent power of the sea erosion purple light energy in front of him, Ramek learned about the horror of Qin Sheng's monster warship from Kaiser Druid's mouth, and naturally thought of fighting Qin Sheng. I can't even mention it at all. After all, the power of Kaiser Druid is far more than that of Ramek by several times. The gap between the two is huge, but Kaiser Druid is almost crushed under the gunfire of the devil to gain benefits. There are Slaanesh demons chasing after him behind him, and Ramek has fallen into a dilemma. Abruptly, Ramek rolled his eyes, and Ramek had figured out a plan. Front, right in front, that guy is the one who killed Stiga looking for trouble for him. Ramek stopped abruptly, turned around and roared with sound waves, shouting at the Slaanesh demon who was chasing after him. And when the eyes of the demons of Slaanesh fell on the Pure Land behind them, Qin Sheng had quietly activated the four-dimensional cover, and under the cover of the space film, the huge body of the demon of the plane disappeared, as if it had never been seen before. None exist in general. Ramek's eyes widened, and utter despair surged from the bottom of his heart. Ramek, are you out of your mind? You can make up such a stupid lie. The murderer who killed General Stiga knew that in the subspace, the four evil Shendu had already targeted him, so how could he enter the subspace and take risks? Stop talking nonsense with this guy, dare to leave Zincha's domain and kill her. As the words fell, a group of Slanesh demons moved in full force. At this moment, Qin Sheng's voice appeared in Ramik's mind, I will save you. How about you being my slave? Hee hee. I will not betray Master Zinch, let me dispel your wishful thinking. With a roar, Ramik fought with the Slanesh demon with one enemy. 10 minutes later, all the gorgeous feathers on Ramik's body were glued together by the sticky black blood and lost their luster. My lord, Emperor Sha Tian will FK me. Ramik's voice echoed on the Pure Land. Qin Sheng was sitting on the command cabin of Xuanyuan Genesis, with a slight smile on his face. Wouldn't you be free from the pain of flesh and blood? Beside Qin Sheng, Nova was stunned. All the chaotic demons in the present universe are twisted into a rope. Even if they are two hostile forces, they will not attack each other. The power is exerted on the body of the cosmic life community, but in this subspace, it is obvious that the internal friction of the chaos demons is not small. At least the fight between the Slanesh demon and Ramik in front of him made Nova's eyes addicted. Qin Sheng was not at all surprised by Ramik's softness. If a corn demon was here at this moment, Qin Sheng would not hesitate to kill all the two parties. In addition to slashing and killing blood, it is unconditional obedience to the evil god of corn. But the demons under Zincha's command are not like this. It can be said that all Zincha's demons are scheming and cunning people, and they are willing to serve Zinch because of their infinite wisdom. Their control is not strong, and more often, Carlos even manages the entire calculation in place of Zinch. This also led to Ramik cherishing his own life more than his loyalty to Zinch. In front of him, the true god Sintha he believed in didn't even have any intention of coming to rescue him, and he might send generals to avenge him afterwards, but by then his body would be completely cold, so what's the use? And Qin Sheng can take action to save himself right now. Which one to choose, Ramik has already made up his mind. With the thought of Qin Sheng, Sid, the four-dimensional cover dissipated, and the sea-eclipsed purple light poured out, pulling up countless fine curtains of purple sea light in the subspace, rushing towards these Slanesh demons. When the sea erosion purple light completely formed its position, the Slanesh demon had no chance to resist, and was swallowed up by the sea erosion purple light in the violent beating arc. At the same time, bursts of illusory power came from these Slanesh. The demon shot out from the body and poured into the body of Xuanyuan Genesis, strengthening the power emperor of Xuanyuan Genesis. Qin Sheng stepped out of the Xuanyuan creation under the support of purple light energy, looked at Ramik in front of him. Qin Sheng showed a smile, and waved to Ramik, come on, come here. Jia, do you really think I will submit to you willingly? Wishful thinking. Sure enough, after Qin Sheng helped Ramik solve the immediate crisis, Zinch's duplicitous nature began to show again, and a burst of space vortices gathered around Ramik, pulling Ramik to jump in space. When just arrived here, Ramik has been secretly manipulating this piece of subspace to build a passage together with the sky change. At this moment, the construction is just perfect. You promised me something, but you still want to go back on your word. In an instant, Qin Sheng's psychic energy surged, turning into a giant hand in the air, grabbing Ramik's neck violently. Qin Sheng felt that his psychic energy became stronger in the subspace, and as soon as when fighting Stika, Qin Sheng's psychic power was comparable to that of a 6th-level monster, and he showed a crushing attitude when facing mere Ramik. Ouch, I'm kidding you, my lord, my lord. Ramik immediately changed his face. Qin Sheng snorted coldly, and flung out his psionic giant hand, smashing Ramik on the Pure Land. Qin Sheng's mind moved, and the psychic power became indestructible again. In an instant the prison fell on Ramik's body, blocking Ramik's actions. Is it possible to use Iron Heart to assimilate this chaos demon? Qin Sheng blinked, and looked at Ramik in front of him. He didn't know what plan he was planning in his treacherous eyes. Iron Heart assimilation. As Qin Sheng's thoughts rose, balls of light enveloped Ramik's body, and Ramik, who was as huge as a mountain, turned into a ball of light at this time, and the dazzling light lasted for dozens of minutes. Only then did Ramik be completely transformed. A rattling sound floated in Qin Sheng's ears, and in Qin Sheng's sight, the mountain-like Ramik turned into a palm-sized mechanical bird. 60%. Chapter 288 Transformation of the System, New Rules. Chapter 288 The Transformation of the System, Brand New Rules. Qin Sheng looked at the quacking mechanical bird that landed on the ground in front of him. His brows were tightly furrowed. Even though he had already prepared for the assimilation of this chaotic demon, what unexpected changes would happen, but at this moment, Qin Sheng really didn't expect it. An extremely sophisticated mechanical bird flapped its wings and flew into Qin Sheng's palm. "My lord, the emperor." At the same time as this voice sounded, there were bursts of booms in Qin Sheng's mind. It is detected that the host is assimilating the core of the subspace, synchronizing data, and upgrading the system. It is detected that the host has not yet reached the 7th level of civilization, and some permissions are opened. More permissions will be gradually opened as the host's technological civilization improves. Compared with when Qin Sheng first got the system, this voice is more friendly, like a real human voice. As the system's prompt sounded, Qin Sheng didn't notice anything wrong, but when his body was automatically absorbing the spiritual energy around the subspace, he suddenly discovered that just a moment ago, the spiritual energy he absorbed had reached an unreasonable level. In the blink of an eye, his attainments in psionic energy became even stronger. Behind him, Xuanyuan Genesis also seemed to have entered a state of freely absorbing spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy strengthened Xuanyuan Genesis, making it even more powerful. System extension. 1. All obtained non-biological substances will be automatically multiplied by 10,000 times. This increase can be freely selected or not. 2. The organisms belonging to the host will carry a corresponding increase of 0.1% to master. This extension will automatically select the strongest organism under the host's command for blessing. The voice rising in Qin Sheng's mind caught Qin Sheng by surprise. If this is the case, then what Qin Sheng can grasp will become even more powerful. The original 10,000-fold increase has now fallen into the 6th level peak civilization and can no longer keep up with the current rhythm. After all, no matter how much all the 6th level civilization technologies are rewarded, they will not be able to reach the level of the 7th level civilization. What's more, he has already mastered this demon of face and transformed it into a biological battleship. Ordinary technology has not improved Qin Kong at all. But now that the system has undergone a transformation, which can even affect the absorption of spiritual energy, Qin Sheng's heart throbs a little. If this speed continues, I'm afraid that within 100 years, I will be able to dominate the entire universe, including the subspace, and the 4 evil Shendu will be assimilated by me into a cute girl. Qin Sheng stroked his chin, thinking so. The 0.1% increase of the demon of the plane is equivalent to 10 times the reward, and what Qin Sheng is eager to try now is whether his own 10,000-fold increase can interact with the 0.1% of the current Xuanyuan creation. If they can interact with each other, then the final blessing on the demon of the plane will be equivalent to an increase of 100,000 times. The host can perform double superposition amplification with the bound organism, but this option has a cooling time. As if sensing Qin Sheng's doubts, the system's notification sounded again. Qin Sheng couldn't help trembling when he heard the system notification sound. Under the blessing of 10,000 times, he could obtain enough void source crystals, and finally pass the 0.1% blessing of Xuanyuan Genesis. Qin Sheng couldn't even imagine what Xuanyuan Genesis would eventually evolve into. In Qin Sheng's palm, Ramek chirped, as if it was a mechanical bird. Qin Sheng looked at the chaotic demon in his palm that had been assimilated by Iron Heart, and asked slowly, "Do you know where there is a void source crystal in this subspace?" The crystal mines of void source crystals are all in the hands of the 4 great evil gods and a very small number of 7th level demons. There are few large crystal mines left outside, only some scattered, empty source crystals temporarily condensed by the rules of the control room, crystal. But there must be exceptions to everything. There used to be a large area of void source crystal mines on Mara's territory, but after Mara was abandoned by chaos and sealed in the void, Mara's territory also lost the rules, full of rage. Even a 7th level demon cannot freely enter the territory of Mara, but the power you possess, the Emperor, is enough to ignore the law of violent destruction. Quote. Ramek responded, and Qin Sheng nodded. Lead the way, to Mara's territory. Since Qin Sheng wants to absorb void source crystals in the subspace, he needs a territory that can accommodate himself. This Pure Land is good, and at the same time, Mara's territory is also a good place to go. Rot. Now under the influence of Qin Sheng, Mara has been revived in the present universe. There is no trace of Mara in this subspace, and the remaining territory can naturally be regained by Qin Sheng now. Every moment Qin Sheng felt that the power in his body was changing in a more transcendent direction, and even Qin Sheng's thought would cause endless changes in his body. Limbs can change into various forms under Qin Sheng's will, and even in this small piece of time and space in front of Qin Sheng's eyes, Qin Sheng can affect the flow of time in an extremely small area. All the signs indicated that Qin Sheng was evolving towards the level of 7th level psionic power at this time. It has to be said that the current 10,000-fold reward system has shifted its focus from technological development to Qin Sheng himself and the biological battleship beneath him. As the level of civilization technology improves, Qin Sheng feels more and more that no matter how many warships his own civilization has, they are all vain. No matter how many warships there are, they are used to deter others. If one really wants to defeat the enemy, one warship is enough. Now under the blessing of the system, Xuanyuan Genesis can carry out unlimited upgrades, and finally transcend this Fang universe, and Qin Sheng is no different. It's true that power should be mastered by oneself. In just half a day, I feel that the spiritual energy I have obtained far exceeds the previous accumulation. When in the Milky Way, Qin Sheng could still obtain a little power of faith through the human civilizations under his command to transform the blessing into psionic energy, but with the improvement of Qin Sheng's attainments in psionic energy, this weak blessing eventually it was even inferior to Qin Sheng's self-absorbed daily amount. But absorbing this psychic energy independently is not subject to a 10,000-fold increase. Now that the system has perfected this point, Qin Sheng can be said to have double growth in constitution and technology, and it is not far away to step on Zinch and bow his head. In about 3 natural days, Qin Sheng drove Xuanyuan Genesis out of the territory belonging to Mara. Qin Sheng looked at Mara's territory from a distance, feeling a little astonished in his heart. In front of my eyes, a piece of decay and silence has reached an indescribable nothingness, filled with non-stop disasters, destroying everything, and repeating itself. 60%. Chapter 289 can be picked, but only a little bit. Chapter 289 can be picked, but only a little bit. Like the center of a nuclear explosion, the endless annihilation is destroying all matter including spiritual power, and the territory belonging to Mara extends endlessly in this subspace. Destroy the day. In Qin Sheng's palm, the mechanical bird Ramak said in a low voice. Looking at the nothingness in front of him that has been completely swallowed up by the rules of destruction, Qin Sheng asked, Iris, can I enter here? It's possible to get in, but it doesn't guarantee a stay for too long. The rules here have been extended to higher planes, which is equivalent to causing substantial harm to me. Quote. Elise gave the answer, and after a while, Elise went on to say, my body can remain invulnerable for a short period of time, but after a long time, it will tend to assimilate, and will eventually be affected by September 13 inches to this side. Space attack. Quote. Qin Sheng understood. It seems that this subspace is quite different from the current universe. Long ago, Qin Sheng had already guessed whether subspace had any relationship with high latitudes, and now it seems that there is obviously such a connection. The 3-dimensional space where Qin Sheng lives belongs to the current universe, and between higher dimensions, there may be subspaces. If we only talk about the difference in dimensions, the subspace, a field composed of pure spiritual power, can already be regarded as high-dimensional. It may be that due to certain restrictions, the subspace cannot break through this shackles, otherwise, the present universe is already in the cavalry of the warp has fallen. After a long time, Qin Sheng chose to enter this Mara's territory, looking for the crystal veins of the void source crystal. Do you know where the ore body of the void source crystal is located in the Mara territory? I know, but Mara's territory has been in such a chaotic state in the subspace for countless years. As for where it is now, I am not sure. Qin Sheng nodded. It is inevitable. Even under such destructive power, Qin Sheng couldn't even be sure whether the crystal mine still existed. Can you leave a space imprint in this territory for teleportation? Can. With Elise's affirmation, Qin Sheng resolutely chose to enter it. Beside Qin Sheng, Nova looked at this strange annihilation of stars, distorting all time and space, destroying all matter, spirit, and all existence, and a flash of astonishment flashed in his eyes. We will not get lost. In a place like this. Qin Sheng smiled and patted Nova on the shoulder. Don't be afraid, because you won't die. Nova shrunk his neck. I'm not afraid of death, but before I came to the subspace, I imagined fighting with subspace demons. If I die in such a place, I'm really aggrieved. It's still early. Don't worry, if you can't overcome the difficulties in front of you, how can you talk about conquering subspace? Conquer the warp. Nova blinked his eyes and looked at Qin Sheng in front of him. Then we must be auspicious people with their own aura, and destroy the sky in a mere way. How can we stop our steps? Ha ha ha. Qin Sheng laughed loudly, and the Xuanyuan Genesis turned into a stream of light, rushing straight into the ruined sky in front of him. When Xuanyuan Genesis entered the range of destroying heaven, Qin Sheng could clearly feel the violent and destructive power surging around the periphery. If it was the previous emperor's advent, Qin Sheng can guarantee that it will be the first time it enters destroying heaven. In a short time, it will be completely crushed by this force and become fine powder. No shield barrier can resist such destruction, not even a Tier 7 battleship. As for the goal of ultimate civilization, Qin Sheng already had a certain idea in mind, and the power to control time and space obviously couldn't override this destruction. Not to mention the battleships of the 7th level civilization, even ordinary Leviathan biological battleships, will be defeated by this annihilation. If it weren't for Qin Sheng's mastery of the demon of the nightmare plane, Qin Kong really wouldn't have the guts to go into destruction. The first space leap lasted for 32 breaths, and after Elise told Qin Sheng that he couldn't hold on anymore, Qin Sheng returned immediately. The spatial fluctuation forcibly tore out a stable spatial channel in this annihilation and destruction, and the sea-eclipsed purple light can wrap Xuanyuan Genesis, reversing time and space. There is no cosmic Brin in the subspace. Qin Sheng can't make the space jump of the hypercosmic Brin, he can only make ordinary leaps, and as he returns to the periphery of Ruin Tien, Nova suddenly feels a sense of survival after a catastrophe flooded my mind. Even though all the destructive forces were isolated from the Xuanyuan creation by the sea-eclipsing purple light energy, Nova still felt the pain and the destruction that wanted to destroy everything. 32 breaths of time have traveled a distance of nearly 1,000 light-years, but 1,000 light-years is just a drop in the bucket for the already illusory subspace. If we continue at this pace, there won't be a period of more than 10 or 20 years before we can't jump into the entire destroying heaven. If the crystal mine of the void source crystal is in an extremely deep place, or has been destroyed by this annihilation force, then the loss outweighs the gain. Qin Sheng didn't choose to plunge into it again this time, but began to consider the pros and cons of it. Emperor, I can feel the power of the void origin crystal, which is not far away from us. According to my speculation, we can reach it after about 3,000 leaps forward. Then let's try. Qin Sheng nodded. Since Elise wants to try, it is naturally excellent. In this subspace, as soon as she exited the destroying heaven, Elise supplemented the sea-eclipsing purple light energy reserves by devouring spiritual energy in a very short period of time. Once again rushed into the ruined sky, looking for the location of the void source crystal mine. Repeatedly, at the time of the 3129th space leap, in Qin Sheng's line of sight, a piece of fluid resembling a galaxy slowly rotating appeared. Qin Sheng's eyes were fixed, and the mechanical bird Ramek in Qin Sheng's hand screamed with excitement, void liquid, 5.5 inches. What is void fluid? After the crystal ore of the void source crystal expands to the extreme, it will condense an extremely rare void liquid. A drop of void liquid condenses nearly 10,000 tons of void source crystal essence, and there is such a large amount of void source crystal in this ruining sky. Void liquid reserves. Great, great. Qin Sheng was startled when he heard this, and the corner of Nova's mouth twitched, wishing to climb on the porthole to enjoy the beautiful scenery in front of him. Emperor, I can't hold on any longer. At this moment, Elise sent a signal, and Qin Sheng chose to leave here and return. Returning to the edge of ruining heaven, Qin Sheng couldn't help but wryly smiled. Because of the void liquid, the annihilating power of that ruining heaven was even stronger, and Xuanyuan Genesis couldn't stay for too long. 60%. Chapter 290. The Evolution of Xuanyuan Genesis. Chapter 290. The Evolution of Xuanyuan Genesis. But now that the space mark has been left, it is very easy for Qin Sheng to enter the place where the void liquid is again. When the Xuanyuan creation had replenished enough sea-eclipsing purple light energy, it once again entered the destruction heaven. Spatial fluctuations were generated above the void liquid, and the galaxy-like void liquid occupied a huge disk. Dozens of galaxies moved slowly with their arms. Qin Sheng immediately began to manipulate the Xuanyuan Genesis to carry out the investigation into the void liquid uptake. In just over 10 breaths, Elise's voice came again. Emperor, I have reached my limit. The corners of Qin Sheng's mouth twitched. Elise's words were really against the rules. The turbulent space once again lifted Xuanyuan's creation body away from destruction. But at this moment, in Xuanyuan Genesis, nearly 100,000 tons of void liquid has been absorbed within the time of more than 10 breaths. Congratulations, you have obtained 98,400 tons of void liquid. 10,000-fold increase. 28. Congratulations on getting the void climbing evil husk. Inside the Xuanyuan Genesis, the 98,400 tons of void liquid that had just been obtained slowly condensed, and finally, under the wrapping of light, it became a void of hundreds of kilometers. This is the first time for Qin Sheng to truly witness the appearance of the evil in the void. It looks like a fish without scales. The whole body is as black as ink, and 2 rows grow out of its huge mouth that can be called the abyss. It has a mouthpart like a chainsaw, and there are 2 huge wings on its back. At the ends of the wings and the tips of the fin-like organs on the body, there are fluorescent green lights shining, as if there is a poison in it. At the moment when the dead corpse appeared in the void, Ramek, the mechanical bird, screamed, "Breed! Breed! Do you still know about void breeds? Even in the subspace, I haven't seen the void climber appear for tens of thousands of years. The Emperor can get such a complete corpse. It's really gratifying, gratifying." Ramek yelled excitedly, and Qin Sheng couldn't help laughing and shaking his head. Under the change of iron heart assimilation, this Ramek has lost the treachery that belonged to the Zinch demon, but at this moment, to Qin Sheng, this Ramek is like an all-knowing encyclopedia generally. It has to be said that even if it is a 5th-level monster, since it is under Zinch's command, the universe it lives in all night is very different from Qin Sheng's cognition. For Qin Sheng, his current understanding of the universe is only a half knowledge, but for Ramek, there may be only the most subtle things that he doesn't know. Qin Sheng called Elise and asked Elise if she could devour the husk bred from the void, but when Elise saw the husk, her eyes lit up. Seeing this, Qin Sheng chose to return to that piece of pure land, waiting for the Xuanyuan Genesis to devour the void and upgrade the evil sun shell. Now, due to the transformation and improvement of the system, the rules have been changed. Xuanyuan Genesis devouring this void-infested corpse is equivalent to devouring a full 10 of them. According to Ramek, even in the subspace, the existence of void breeds is extremely rare. For a 5th-level demon, he has not seen void dreams for tens of thousands of years. It has to be said that with the blessing of the system, Qin Sheng can get far more than ordinary people. This engulfment will bring great changes to Xuanyuan Genesis, and it may not even be enough to support Qin Sheng to spy on the 7th-level civilization. The mastery of time and space, for ordinary scientific and technological civilizations, can only be improved through scientific research, to study this particle and that particle, and then use technological means to mix countless things that are related to time and space, and finally make being able to manipulate is considered stepping into a 7th-level civilization. As far as Qin Sheng is concerned, if he wants to master time and space, he only needs to feed the demons of the plains to make his worship more and more powerful, which is enough. I am afraid that the body of the demon of the plane, not to mention time and space, even the entire universe, is not in his eyes. If one day Qin Sheng can cultivate a small part of this demon of the plane into an existence comparable to the demon of the plane through breeding, Qin Sheng can hardly imagine the scene. After a few days, the Xuanyuan creation landed on the Pure Land again. When the hill-like corpse of the Voidborn corpse was taken out, the demon of the plane waved its feet and split the Voidborn corpse's corpse into parts. Small pieces are slowly stuffed into the mouth for chewing and devouring. Whether this process is fast or slow is not considered slow, but in the end it will take a few days. The corpse of the void breeding last time was nothing more than a small piece of snacks to the demon of the plane, but now the corpse of the void breeding evil is enough to rival nearly 1/10 of the demon of the plane, the copy of the body of the text. Nova looked at the scene in front of him, and couldn't help but be amazed. Others' warships still need to upgrade their technology to become stronger and stronger. The warships of our great Qin Empire are good. They only need to swallow the same space other races of behemoths will do. This kind of evolutionary means has gone beyond the scope of technology, which is simply incredible. I don't know how the taboo civilization developed such a technology. Quote. Qin Sheng couldn't help thinking about Nova's exclamation. 477. This kind of technological means, not to mention the pinnacle of the 6th-level civilization, may not be able to reach even the 7th-level civilization. Only higher dimensional biotechnology can perfect it, and Qin Sheng is in this 3-dimensional universe, has obtained this perfect scientific research record. Could it be that the system is guiding my path? It would be too scary if his path from beginning to end was based on systematic planning. However, Qin Sheng has no clue as to where the system came from. In his previous life, he was just the most inconspicuous one among countless cosmic life unions. Now Qin Sheng's road can be said to be widened. In just a few decades, Qin Sheng has already stood at the pinnacle of this Fang universe. You don't need to worry about so much. If you live this life again, I will live up to the name of the Emperor. The corners of Qin Sheng's mouth curled up as he thought about it. While the two were having nothing to do, thousands of light years away from this pure land, a group of Slaanesh legions were marching towards this place. Regarding the sudden death of their own Slaanesh demons, some of the Slaanesh demons have already captured the place where their spiritual power last bloomed. The Slaanesh Legion, as black as a dark cloud, rushed straight to this pure land, looking for clues to retaliate against Ramak. 60%. Chapter 291 Psionic Projection, Crushing the Army of Slaanesh. Chapter 291 Psionic Projection, Crush Slaanesh's Army. Qin Sheng's eyes narrowed slightly, and he looked at the Slaanesh demon in the distance that was covered in darkness. So many Slaanesh demons. I'm afraid they came here for those Slaanesh demons who died here a few days ago. Now the Xuanyuan Genesis is devouring evolution. Run first. Beside Qin Sheng, Nova spoke in a low voice, with a hint of fear in his eyes. If it was in the command cabin of the Xuanyuan creation, let alone the mere Slaanesh army, Nova would not be afraid of 10 times as many Slaanesh demons. After all, the power of the Xuanyuan creation was obvious to all, but this time at this moment, the two of them were facing the Slaanesh army with their bodies, which somewhat made Nova tremble. Of course, it was only in Fachu. If Qin Sheng insisted on making a move at this moment, Nova had already made preparations for the battle. Qin Sheng chuckled, and patted Nova on the shoulder. Did you forget the spiritual power I possess? Nova's eyes flickered, and he grinned suddenly, then completely crushed these Slaanesh demons. As the voice fell, Nova's figure flickered nonstop, fluttering in the sky above this pure land, bringing a stream of azure blue light where it passed, followed by spiritual energy fluctuations accompanied by explosive roars, floating in the void. Nova was like a bomber, dropping a superpower burst group wrapped in psionic energy. Among the Slaanesh army in front of him, the leader is a Slaanesh demon who can reach the level of a 6th level demon. The pink body is wrapped with extremely pure and depraved desires. The subspace was magnified to the limit, but Nova was not afraid at all, and rushed head-on, like a wolf rushing into a flock of sheep, slaughtering the 4th level monster. The laser spray in his hand can penetrate the bodies of several Slaanesh demons every time. Demons below the 5th level are not qualified to fight Nova fiercely. On the Pure Land, Qin Sheng nodded with satisfaction, looking at the scene in front of him. Although the last time Nova did not get the slightest benefit before the mechanical barrier, it was after all facing a 6th level Zinch monster, and it was a creation left by the ultimate civilization. At this time, Qin Sheng it can be regarded as thoroughly witnessing Nova's power, and in this Slaanesh army, he is also able to do a job with ease. Damn living body, dare to break into the subspace, it's really looking for death. The 6th level monster waved its thick tentacles, pushing away the surrounding Slaanesh demons, and countless tentacles spewed out from its huge body, trying to wrap Nova and strangle him completely. And Nova's body is full of dazzling light. The whole person is like a supernova explosion, with Nova as the core, washing away endless power, shining like the sun falling on the winter snow, turning the 4th level Slaanesh. All the demons melted away. Even the 5th level Slaanesh demons couldn't help but retreat under this light, not daring to have any regrets with them. Only the 6th level monster in Slaanesh's army resisted the light, and fought with Nova. After a while, several sharp tentacles pierced Nova's arm, carried Nova through, and accompanied him. What came was the desire that rushed straight into my mind, and it rushed to Nova's belief. At this moment, Qin Sheng's figure moved. Boom. In an instant, a pale sun condensed above the entire Pure Land. The light was bright and clean, but it also carried a haze. When the sun appeared, Qin Sheng's psionic projection condensed into a 5-clawed golden dragon, entrenched in the blue sun, lifelike. The huge dragon eyes stared at the 6th level Slaanesh, and all the joy in Slaanesh's heart disappeared for a moment, replaced by boundless fear. Under the projection of Qin Sheng's psychic energy, this Slaanesh demon also looked like an ant. The light fell on Nova's body, burning the tentacles, and the strange thoughts in Nova's mind were also eliminated. Qin Sheng waved his hand, and the psionic energy tore a crack in the subspace. The rules of nothingness escaped from it, wrapping the 6th level Slaanesh demon, and as Qin Sheng clenched his fist, the body of the 6th level Slaanesh demon crashed into pieces. Blast. There is no other word to describe Qin Sheng at this moment. The 6th level monster is like a plaything in Qin Sheng's hands, and all this is due to the transformation of the system, which allows Qin Sheng to freely absorb souls in this subspace. Yes, if the current Qin Sheng were to fight against the God of Judgment, it would not be evenly matched. It was Qin Sheng who was able to completely defeat the God of Judgment with a crushing posture. When the 6th level demons were eliminated, the sun was shining brightly, and all the demons of the Slaanesh Legion that passed by disintegrated and ceased to exist. Nova looked at Qin Sheng with admiration. I want to cultivate this psychic ability earlier, I'm afraid it will be even stronger now. Qin Sheng shook his head. Spiritual energy is not so safe. Only under my protection can we ignore the erosion of the subspace, otherwise, if we want to cultivate this level of strength, we will have been eroded by the subspace and turned into chaos. Apostle. Quote. How could the Judgment God envoy? Nova asked a question, and Qin Sheng couldn't help but think deeply in his eyes. In the encounter with Man Luo at the beginning, Man Luo could actually sense the breath of Stika, which made Qin Sheng have a little doubt. Now that Nova brought it up again, Qin Sheng had to think about whether the God of Judgment had any collusion with the subspace. After all, with the support of the system, Qin Sheng can ignore the erosion of the subspace and the bewitching of evil gods. Then what is the basis for the Judgment God envoy? Could it be that the Judgment God envoy is also blessed by the system? If this is the case, then it is impossible for the Judgment God envoy to be bullied into such a state by Qin Sheng. When we return to the present world, we must peel off the skin of this trial of the Holy See to see whether this guy's heart is red or black. Qin Sheng thought so, gathered all the demon spirits of Slanesh. Many of them were comparable to the power of the Void Source Crystal. Nuo Wangs can be used as the ration of Xuanyuan Genesis. Throwing the corpses of these Slanesh demons to the demon of the plane, Qin Sheng began to plan how to develop in the subspace in the future. In the present world, Qin Sheng is already above the ceiling, facing these civilizations without the slightest bit of fear, and conquering the present world has never been Qin Sheng's goal, and conquering the subspace is just incidental. Qin Sheng's goal is only to lead to a more advanced plane, get a glimpse of the mysteries beyond the universe, and stand above infinity. Zinch, the day when you bow your head and proclaim yourself a vassal is not far away. Why do you need thousands of years? Day and night. Time passed bit by bit, and as the demon of the plane devoured the corpses of the Void Pan and some Slanesh demons in front of him, Qin Sheng began to plan to return to the present world. But at this moment, in the world, great changes have taken place. The Titans have come. 61%. Chapter 292 Return to the Present Universe. Chapter 292 Returning to the Universe. The ancient Titan god Yachuo has descended into this present universe. An extremely huge humanoid creature, its body is at least tens of millions of kilometers in size, and its body is covered with thick crystal armor. It looks simple and inferior, but this armor cannot be defeated no matter how many 6th-level civilizations of. The top of the skull is also wrapped in metal, and the 8 eyes on the dark red helmet are arranged in 2 rows, exuding orange-red light. This is the reliance of the god of life, the Titan ancient god Yachuo. When the ancient god Titan descended into the world, the underlying logic of the entire universe was subtly changing, rising to a higher level. At the same time, only the arrival of Yachuo accelerated the entropy increase of the entire universe. It can be said that Yachuo's existence is extremely transcendent. For Yachuo, the reversal of time and space is not even a child's play. Stepping into the 8th-level civilization, but the 7th-level civilization is still higher low, and the ancient typing behind the life god is still the limit of the 7th-level civilization. For Yachuo, if he wanted to create a small universe in 860, he could grasp all the historical operation rules. Immediately after Yater's arrival, the Holy See of Judgment led the Deathwatch, Mechanicus, and Saint Malin's council to counterattack, and the Void Dragon clan, which had lost Qin Sheng's protection, suffered heavy losses immediately. Even under the transformation of the biological battleship, Chu Xin has pulled almost all the ancient Void Dragons in the forbidden area of the clan to the battle line, but he is still lost. And Yachuo didn't even make a move, but attached the imprint of the ancient gods to the warships of the Holy See and other forces, the mysterious power from ancient civilizations. It is evenly matched, but they have fallen into the disadvantage many times and suffered heavy losses. This is the current predicament of the Void Dragon clan. The great Qin Empire left behind by Qin Sheng and Nova's Nova Legion have been destroyed in repeated wars, and the current Nova civilization has almost withered. This trip to the subspace, Qin Sheng has been away for 32 years. Chu Xin has also worked hard to manage the alliance of the 3 of them in the present universe for 32 years. Although Chu Xian still hasn't changed much, CIDF, but that luxurious aura has all changed into a solemn, the real queen's posture. Is there still no news from the Great Wall system of the Northern Crown? On the throne, Chu Xin softly asked Longmo and Ayla in front of her. Now Ayla Longmo has become the general of the Great Qin Alliance, in charge of the Void Dragon clan, Great Qin Empire, and the Nova Legion. After a long time, Ella shook her head. The carbon-based alliance and the silicon-based alliance are still unwilling to make a move. My lord the emperor hasn't come back yet. Long Mo said, a gloomy look flashed in his eyes. Chu Dai helplessly supported his forehead, and rubbed his temples with his slender fingers, trying to relieve the pressure in front of him. It has to be said that Na Yachuo's power is really too weird. The ancient civilization and the current technological civilization cannot be generalized. The mysterious power it possesses directly points to the ultimate universe itself. Even according to Chu Xin's speculation, the past 30 years at that time, the Trial Holy See has infinitely approached the 7th level civilization. Under the leadership of Yachuo, the civilization that is the pinnacle of the 6th level civilization, such as the Trial Holy See, is changing in a more transcendent direction. At the same time, for more than 30 years, the Eye of Subspace has also been wreaking havoc on the universe. Now every 3 months, it will be forcibly led by a 5th level peak monster or a 6th level monster, tearing apart the gap between the domains. Isolated, and dispatched from the subspace to cause harm to the world. In the end-time stage, from the initial 10-month cycle, 30 subspace eyes, to the 3-month cycle, 900 subspace eyes. The entire universe has fallen into chaos, and countless civilizations have turned into chaos apostles under the erosion of chaos. It is precisely because of this reason that Chu Xin can breathe, because the Holy See is too weak to do so. Otherwise, for more than 30 years, under such heavy pressure, even the Void Dragon clan plus the Great Qin Empire and the Nova civilization, and there is no way to survive at all. In addition, the 5th evil god, Mara, also began to invade this living universe on a large scale. With the Sloan Great Wall system as the center, the forces of destruction began to spread to the entire universe. Wherever it passed, neither the subspace demon nor the cosmic life community could resist Mara's iron hoof. It can be said that in the short 32 years since Qin Sheng left the present universe, the entire present universe has become a mess. Especially this group of sanctimonious 6th level peak civilizations, because of the arrival of Yachuo, the leaders of all civilizations seem to have seen the dawn leading to the ultimate universe, and most of them turned to the Holy See of Judgment, just to understand the ultimate mystery of the universe. For them, as long as they break through the 7th level civilization, they will leave this Fang universe. As for the subspace, what about Mara, and what has it to do with them? There are countless 6th-level peak civilizations with this idea. After a long time, Chu Lun let out a long sigh, reorganize the troops and make tactical deployments. The next round of trial and attack by the Holy See will probably be in the next few days, so we can't slack off. Continue to contact the 6th-level peak civilizations around you. Don't ask for alliances, just help out, and the rewards are whatever they want. Quote. Aila and Long Mo retreated after being ordered. Chu Xian slowly stood up, looking at the devastated Void Dragon star field that had changed drastically. Qin Sheng's figure involuntarily appeared in Chu's minds. It's possible to come back in a few days, or it may take 3 to 5 years. Chu murmured Qin Sheng's last words before he left, and smiled helplessly. The gap between 3 to 5 years and 30 years is too great. If the Divine Court of Life really captures my Void Dragon clan, then I won't accompany you to mess around anymore. Chu Xin thought to herself, looking at the starry sky far away with her deep eyes. At this moment, in the North Crown Great Wall system, somewhere in the eye of the subspace, the feet of the demon of the plane tore through nothingness, protruding from the subspace, and the huge Xuanyuan Genesis descended, destroying everything chaos demons crushed. After devouring the corpses of the Void Breeding Corpse and those Slanesh demons, the demon of the plane grew a 4th row of feet attached with innate skills, shining scarlet light. Why is this universe filled with a strange aura? In the subspace, Qin Sheng only stayed for about 10 days, but at this moment, the present universe gave Qin Sheng an extremely strange feeling. 32 years have passed. Beside, Nova said dumbfounded. 61%. Chapter 293 You are looking for death, I will fulfill you. Chapter 293 You are looking for death, I will fulfill you. Battleship name, Xuanyuan Genesis. Battleship class, Shandi, class super battleship. Warship length, 3,000 kilometers. Width, 240 kilometers. The main body of the battleship, Demon of the Plane, has the superposition state of regenerative ship body tissue ×3, autonomously conducts shield defense, energy absorption, due to external armor, internal stabilization device, energy system, engine system, transition system, etc. Weaponry, plane recursive control device ×1. Plane tear control device ×1. Plane strike control device ×1. Reverse light cone control device ×1. Cosmic string wave manipulation bottom logic modifying device ×1. 4-dimensional space manipulation device ×1. See erosion. Purple light energy bombardment control device. Device times 1. Purple light reserve. 100%. The weapon device will consume the purple light reserve. Special abilities. Unique technology points of organism transformation technology. 1. The supercosmic membrane breaks through space transfer. 2. Inverse speed of light limit cosmic membrane modification. 3. Ultra-dimensional ontology attack. Compared with the original Xuanyuan creation, there is not much change, but there is one more thing in the control device, the reverse light cone control device. The so-called light cone, in a sense, can be understood as the coverage of time and space. A beam of light is emitted from the source point and radiates outward in the shape of an angle, and the shape of this angle is very similar to an awl, so it is called a light cone. And what the light cone covers is time, space, or the long river of history. After completely devouring the husk of the evil in the void, the demon of the plane ushered in a great transformation and upgrade, and completely mastered the high-dimensional time-space reversal technology. In this way, Qin Sheng has already stepped into the world. Level 7 Civilization. It's just that there is still a slight gap between reversing the light cone and completely reversing time and space. Reversing the light cone requires the origin of light, and there is a real void in the universe. If the source of light is lost, there is no trace of the light cone, let alone reversal. In addition, the strength of the biological battleship is revealed. The improvement of the Xuanyuan Genesis is not just an additional reverse light cone control device, but a comprehensive improvement. Today's demons of the planes can be called real monsters. If the current demon of the plane were to face the mechanical barrier again, Qin Sheng was sure that he would blast a hole in the mechanical barrier with one blow. The enhancement of C-violet light energy has changed from being like a liquid to a nearly solid state, a state that is almost non-Newtonian fluid. The change in mass makes C-violet light energy more powerful. At this moment, in the command cabin of Xuanyuan Genesis, Qin Sheng looked at the real time on the electronic light curtain, a little dazed. 32 years. It's been 32 years. The so-called 1 day in the sky and 1 year underground, but the flow rate in this subspace seems to be fixed at a concept of about 1,000, and 1 day is equivalent to 3 years in the present universe. The last time Qin Sheng was introduced into Swanbiantian by Romic's design, 1 day passed in Qin Sheng's cognition, but 3 years have passed since he returned to the present universe. This time, 32 years have passed. A little panic flashed in Qin Sheng's heart involuntarily. If it takes 3 to 5 years, Qin Sheng is still sure that the Great Qin Empire will not be defeated even if it faces the trial of the Holy See. Now that 32 years have passed, even Qin Sheng is not absolutely sure that his Great Qin Empire is absolutely safe and sound. But immediately afterwards, a trace of familiar energy fluctuations came from the system of the Great Wall of the Northern Coronation. Qin Kong finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was Anvilia's signal source, and Qin Sheng's hanging heart was finally relieved. Go in the direction of Anviria. Qin Sheng gave the order. Elise nodded obediently, and moved slowly towards the place where Anvilia was driven by her thoughts. And at this moment, the battleship where Anwei is on. On the command chair, Anwei showed a long-lasting sadness on her face. This time the negotiation was fruitless again. Neither the silicon-based alliance nor the carbon-based alliance chose to cooperate. Beside, Hetty reported helplessly, and Anvilia nodded. In today's Great Qin Alliance, Anwei also serves as a diplomat, responsible for negotiating with various cosmic forces, but for such a long time, no civilization of any party is willing to wade into the muddy waters of the Great Qin Alliance. It can be seen that the Great Qin Alliance has declined. On the other hand, the judgment of the Holy See, where the ancient Titan god Yachuo sits in town, the existence of a peak level 7 civilization is enough to attract countless peak level 6 civilizations. Well, it's expected. Let's go back. Anwei said for a long time. The few people were about to return to the Void Dragon Star domain, when a fleet of carbon-based civilization suddenly emerged from the light hole. Burns led 1,000 warships and surrounded Anviria's negotiation fleet. As a diplomat, although Anvilia's starship is also of the Yongle Emperor class, it is not considered the most powerful battleship among the starships in the hands of the Great Qin Empire. Your Excellency Burns, what does this mean? Anwei has a cold face. Her appearance is reflected in the universe through the light curtain, and her cold voice is full of anger. Pence put his arms around his chest, with an unpredictable smile on his face. It's not interesting, but Your Excellency Anwei dared to leave the Void Dragon Star domain, so you have to be prepared to be captured alive. 0. My caste civilization is also the best among the 6th level civilizations. If you are captured and brought to the trial of the Holy See, I believe that the trial of the Holy See will give me enough benefits. Maybe my caste civilization will be lucky enough to have a glimpse universe ultimate. Quote. Hee, Dawo. And Wei Lia sneered, facing such a situation, and Wei Lia had already made preparations. In this negotiation, the girls who accompanied them were tactical humanoid girls. For Anwei Lia and others, they only needed to transmit the consciousness record to the head of the consciousness network, and then they could reshape their physical bodies and resurrect them physically. It is Anwei Lia's idea to prefer broken jade to broken tiles. At this moment, Burns clapped his hands, and dozens of unmanned warships rose slowly, releasing blazing beams of light intertwined with each other. These dozens of unmanned warships surrounded Anwei Lia, and when the beam of light was completely formed, Anvalia discovered that the electronic magnetic field in this star field was completely isolated. Consciousness recording transmission is not possible. Did you really think I didn't investigate you before I came? Now I want to see how you run. Ha 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 ha. Burns' wild laughter reached Anvalia's ears, and there was a little panic in Anvalia's beautiful eyes. At this moment, Qin Sheng's voice echoed in the universe. Little girl, does this make you helpless? The light curtain in front of Burns was forcibly captured, and the face of Qin Sheng appeared on it. You are looking for death, but I am here to fulfill your wish. 61%. 290th chapters The Posture of Saving the World. Chapter 294. The Pose of Salvation. When bursts of dark purple light spots rose from the surface of the demon of the plane, the sea-eclipsed purple light shot out like a bullet, piercing through the endless void, and landed on top of Burns' fleet. In just a few breaths, the 1,000 battleships led by the generals of the caste civilization all collapsed. The sea-eroding purple light easily penetrated into the battleship's shield, eroding and destroying it from the inside out. It has to be said that the core of the entire Great Qin Empire has always been Qin Sheng. As long as there is Qin Sheng, all problems can be easily solved. As for Burns, Qin Sheng didn't even want to hear a word from him, so he just destroyed it. With the disbandment of the beam of light, Qin Sheng connected Anwaya and the others to Xuanyuan Shuangxichengzhijing. What happened? Why are you here? When Anwei Lia saw Qin Sheng's 677, tears were already in her eyes. 32 years is only 10 days to Qin Sheng, but Anwei Lia is real, and she has been thinking about it day and night for 32 years. Heidi on the side also showed unconcealable joy. For a long while, Anwei Lia didn't reply. Qin Sheng was about to speak, but Anwei Lia plunged into Qin Sheng's arms, crying bitterly. These 32 years have been too much torment for these tactical humanoid girls. Countless things weighed on them, and they couldn't even breathe. Seeing this, Qin Sheng patted Anwei Lia's back lightly, and endless anger surged in his heart. After a long time, Anwei Lia's sobs slowed down, and she narrated what happened in the past 32 years. Qin Sheng couldn't help being surprised when he learned of the changes in the universe today. Qin Sheng didn't know much about the divine court of life, but Qin Sheng knew about the subspace. Only 10 days have passed in the subspace, but in the present world, the invasion of the subspace has already reached such a scale. 900 subspace eyes are created every 3 months. How many of them can be defeated and repaired within 3 months? Without a top fleet like Qin Sheng, even a level 6 civilization would have to honestly fight the eye of the subspace at close quarters. Only by destroying the extremely solid space of the eye of the subspace at close range can it be sealed off. As a data sheet was presented in front of Qin Sheng took a deep breath. In today's current universe, there are a total of 27,219 subspace eyes that have not been sealed, opened in every corner of the universe. 3 months, for the subspace, maybe just a few hours, with a steady stream of output, the present universe has no means of counterattack at all. As for Mara's attack, within Qin Sheng's expectation, this guy, as a destroyer, was trying to speed up the rate of entropy increase in the universe and destroy everything. This current universe is on the verge of collapse. After a long time, Qin Sheng sighed in a low voice. As expected of the end of the world, if this development progress continues, within 100 years, the eyes of the subspace may spread throughout the entire universe to completely solidify the present universe into a subspace. The most important reason is that the current life community in the universe has fallen into a deformed state. Because of the existence of the Titan ancient god Yachuo, these top 6-level peak civilizations no longer want to pay attention to the current universe that is on the verge of collapse, but put all their thoughts on how to step into the ultimate universe. The goal of the cosmic life community has changed from maintaining the balance of this world to getting rid of this mess. As long as you step into the ultimate and leave this world, even if it is about to transform into a subspace, what does it matter to them? Everyone has this idea that civilizations below the peak of level 6 have become pigs and dogs waiting to be slaughtered in the last days. After learning all this, Qin Sheng's face couldn't help turning frosty. I'm afraid that if it wasn't for the words judgment of the Holy See, the Judgment God envoy would have ignored the subspace and put all his attention on dealing with my great Qin Empire. Qin Sheng snorted coldly, and the next moment, the surrounding space was distorted, enveloping the Xuanyuan Genesis, making a super-cosmic membrane leap, and in an instant, the Xuanyuan Genesis landed directly above the Void Dragon star domain. The moment this gigantic creature appeared, Chu Xin's heart tightened. The savior he had been looking forward to day and night had finally returned. The psychic energy in Qin Sheng's body was agitated, wrapping Qin Sheng straight into the palace of the Void Dragon clan. When he saw Chu Xin, Qin Sheng couldn't help feeling a little apologetic in his heart. It's a bit late to come back. It's okay, at least before my Void Dragon clan is destroyed. Chu Xinqiang squeezed out a smile, and Qin Sheng touched his nose. From now on, I will be here, so there is no need to worry. The two looked at each other in silence. Qin Sheng only felt that the atmosphere was slightly awkward. Compared with the last time he came to the palace of the Void Dragon clan, the relationship between the two has undergone subtle changes. After a long time, Qin Sheng spoke first. Tell me first, how many civilizations have gathered by the Judgment Holy See, and how many of these civilizations attacked my great Qin Empire, how many warships have been damaged, and how many Void Dragons have died over the years? Let's talk about it. Chu Xin nodded. Now there are 47 6-level peak civilizations as latecomers who have merged into the Judgment Holy See. Half a day later, Qin Sheng got up slowly. There were quite a lot of news about the 32-year campaign, and even Qin Sheng took so long to digest all of them. The Void Dragon clan lost more than 720,000 warships of all levels, including 19 Nether Dragon warships. The Nova Corps killed or injured 2.09 million superpowers. The Great Qin Empire lost 8.9 million warships of all classes. Qin Sheng repeated the shocking numbers in as calm a tone as possible. Beside him, Nova's heart was dripping with blood. The Nova Legion was his entire effort. Now the entire Nova Legion was almost collapsed. The death of 2.09 million superpowers made Nova almost collapse. 0.0. In 32 years, things have changed and people have changed. But Nova never blamed Qin Sheng from the beginning to the end. From the moment he chose to join the Great Qin Empire, Nova was already ready to fight the Holy See to the death. I am afraid that the inheritance has been cut off because of the genetic chain problem as early as 30 years ago. Nova only hated himself for not being strong enough, and the Nova army he led was not strong enough. Don't worry, those guys who tried the Holy See, if they destroy one warship of our empire, I will ask him to pay back 100 ships. If they kill one person in our empire, I will ask him to pay back 1 star. Qin Sheng walked past Nova's side, looked at Nova whose eyes were red and bursting with tears, and said in a solemn voice. When Qin Sheng's footsteps stepped out of the Void Dragon clan's palace, Qin Sheng's voice sounded, Great Qin Empire, strike back. 61%. Chapter 295. The Qin Empire returns to the present world. Chapter 295. The Qin Empire returns to the present world. When countless warships soared into the sky and gathered above the Void Dragon clan, Qin Sheng wanted to let the universe know that the sleeping lion of the Great Qin Empire had awakened. The purple light led Qin Sheng to board the Xuanyuan creation, together with Chu and Nova. Anwei Lia and the others drove the battleship and followed the Xuanyuan creation. As the fleet left the Void Dragon clan in a mighty manner, Qin Sheng locked the position of the Holy See through the star map on his arm. There is no beating around the bush. The first stop is directly to the hometown of the Holy See. As the space collapsed, enveloping the Xuanyuan creation, the next moment the demon of the plane descended on the top of the Judgment Holy See, and a huge Holy See force stretching across the entire galaxy appeared in Qin Sheng's sight. This is the first time Qin Sheng has seen the headquarters of the Holy See of Judgment with his own eyes. Although he had had several conflicts with the Holy See of Judgment before, his understanding of the Holy See of Judgment is only that it is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Qin Sheng coughed lightly, his figure stretched millions of kilometers under the projection of the light curtain, and his voice spread tens of thousands of light years away. If you destroy a warship of our empire, I want him to return 100 ships. Kill one person in my empire, and I will ask him to return 1 star. The next moment, a dazzling purple light rose from Xuanyuan Genesis, like the core of a star. When this purple light shone in the Judgment Holy Sea galaxy, countless creatures began to die, and the stars collapsed and destroyed. Wherever the purple light passed, countless lives were taken away. In just a few breaths, 1% of the territory of the entire Judgment Holy Sea galaxy was completely destroyed, and it was filled with the power of the sea eroding purple light. The space is being eroded, and it is impossible to completely restore it without 1,000 years of time. Qin Shang. In the depths of the Judgment Holy Sea, the voice of the Judgment Angel resounded, and tens of thousands of warships rushed towards the Xuanyuan creation. Qin Shang snorted coldly. Is this enough to pay off my debt? The next moment, with a thought, Qin Shang activated the reverse light cone device. In an instant, the tens of thousands of warships driven by the God of Judgment began to disintegrate and disperse under the backflow of the light cone. In the end, the parts that had been cast into shapes all disappeared, began to transform towards the original material form. A very strange scene suddenly appeared in this star field. Large areas of molten iron, gold, copper, and various special substances in particle state were suspended in the universe. The combatants equipped on the battleship were all floating in the air, lost under the radiation of cosmic rays. The shelter of the battleship is on the verge of collapse. Qin Shang's face was full of coldness. Don't worry, pay it back every day. The God of Judgment watched his tens of millions of warships disintegrate in an instant, and the veins on his forehead were exposed. The last time Qin Shang destroyed 17 million warships, most of them belonged to other civilizations. Now the tens of millions of ships are actually all for him to judge the Holy Sea. But feeling the power in the reversal light cone, which is strong enough to reverse the underlying logic, instead of making simple calculation changes, the God of Judgment knew that ordinary attack methods might be ineffective against Qin Shang. For Qin Shang, the current Xuanyuan creation is already considered a creation of half a 7th level civilization. Although the reverse light cone has limitations, that limitation only stays in the area where there is absolutely no light. Like in this universe, Qin Shang can rotate the reverse light cone to strike. The technology of the 7th level civilization is absolutely overwhelming for the 6th level civilization. The God of Judgment suddenly smiled. Don't forget, I'm not alone. As long as the entire Great Qin Empire can be uprooted, no matter how much you pay, the God of Judgment will not be afraid. As the voice of the Judgment God envoy fell, Qin Shang felt his heart tremble suddenly, as if being grabbed by a big hand. The next moment, in the depths of the Judgment Holy Sea, the void gradually faded away, revealing what was beneath it. The hidden ancient titan, Yater. The moment Yachuo appeared, Qin Shang felt that it was difficult to breathe. That huge body dwarfs even the Xuanyuan Genesis. If you want to crush the Xuanyuan Genesis, I am afraid it is equivalent to crushing an ant to death. Qin Shang's eyes narrowed slightly, and at this moment, the voice of the God of Judgment came again. With the ancient God Titan sitting in command, I want to see what waves you can make. Did I give you too much smiling face? What are you pretending to be here? Are you an ancient Titan? I'm still talking hard now, but you'll feel better soon. The God of Judgment snorted coldly and ignored Qin Shang. Yachuo stretched out his huge arm, and slowly grabbed the Xuanyuan creation. The endless void was compressed to the extreme under the swing of the arm for a moment, and finally collapsed. At the same time, the warships of the Great Qin Empire followed closely and arrived in this star field. Seeing the huge body of the ancient Titan god Yachuo, even this group of tactical humanoid girls couldn't help but exclaimed. On the battleship, Nova stared at the Titan ancient god in front of him. If it weren't for this guy, the Holy Sea would not have had such a big reliance. It was precisely because of this that his own Nova Legion was hit hard. Chu's palms were sweating, but he faced the Titan god calmly. Facing such a monster, how could Chu Xin not be afraid? But compared to being afraid, Chu Xin trusted Qin Shang even more. As long as Qin Shang is there, even the ancient Titan god Yahoo has already stepped into the 7th level civilization Toto, it seems to be insignificant. As the corners of Qin Shang's mouth raised an arc, the void around Xuanyuan Genesis began to tremble, and bursts of strange cosmic string frequency emerged, wrapping around Xuanyuan Genesis, and Na Yachuo's giant palm swept across the space, but it didn't have any disengagement with Xuanyuan creation. As if the two were not in the same world, the giant palm pierced through the Xuanyuan creation, but did not cause any damage to the Xuanyuan creation. Qin Shang said slowly. Ancient god Yachuo also came from a higher dimension. For Xuanyuan creation, although the two are in the same cosmic dimension, at this moment, it is not a high dimension. Rather, it is a three-dimensional present universe. Everything still has to be deduced according to the underlying logic of the cosmic strings in this world. No matter how powerful the power is, it cannot escape the limitations of the underlying logic of the cosmic strings. Qin Sheng's explanation let Chu Dai and Nova know why this happened, but Qin Sheng's next words shocked Nova and Chu Xin even more. Just relying on the cosmic strings is enough to defeat this Titan ancient god. It looks bluffing, but it's just an empty shell. When Xuanyuan Xuangxi's feet began to outline the cosmic strings in the star field, bursts of extremely powerful coercion shot out from Xuanyuan Xuangxi's body. 61%. Chapter 296. The Only Hope. Chapter 296. The Only Hope. When the cosmic strings are fluctuated, the entire cosmic membrane belonging to the Judgment Holy See star field is also modified. Such a precise manipulation is beyond the reach of the ancient gods of Titan. A beam of light shot out, heading straight for Yachuo's body. Yachuo's body is so huge that it can be called exaggerated. For Qin Sheng, it is the best target. When the beam of light condensed by the sea erosion purple light fell on Yachuo's body, the thick armor also fell apart. This blow hit it solidly. A look of joy flashed in Qin Sheng's eyes, and the current cosmic strings have been woven into an intertwining of virtual and real under Qin Sheng's idea. When Qin Sheng was driving the Xuanyuan Genesis to attack, it was real, but when Yachuo attacked himself, it became virtual. In such a state of mixed truth and fiction, Qin Sheng could bombard Yachuo unscrupulously, but Yachuo could not hurt Qin Sheng at all. That's right, your thinking is thousands of times beyond this group of ignorant people. Even taboo civilization can operate freely in your hands, it's really good. At this moment, a rough voice came from Qin Sheng's mind. Looking closely, Yachuo stood with his hands in the void, as if doing lifting movements, looking at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng smiled. Thank you for your kindness. I have no intention of getting involved in the turmoil of the current universe. A mere universe that can only accommodate a sixth-level civilization is useless even if it supports this group of delusional people. But I am just an incarnation. Although I appreciate you, I cannot disobey the fundamental order. Quote. Needless to say, war is. As Qin Sheng's voice fell, Yachuo's huge body shrank sharply. In just a short moment, the altitude changed from tens of millions of kilometers to less than 10,000 kilometers. Compared with the Xuanyuan Xuangxi in front of him, not much more. When Yachuo's body size became smaller, the cosmic strings changed to a great extent all of a sudden. Originally, because of his huge body, the gravitational force of this star field, the cosmic membrane, and more factors were more or less affected. But at this moment, when Yachuo's body becomes smaller, these distortions are restored in a very short time, and the cosmic strings just edited have also failed. Qin Sheng's gaze narrowed slightly, and it had to be said that Yachuo's fighting instinct was extremely strong. In a higher dimensional existence, one's own strength is the real strength. Facing such a monster, Qin Sheng also needs to rack his brains to fight against it instead of treating it as a normal thing. At the moment when the cosmic strings failed, Yachuo's figure flickered and shuttled through the universe. When he reached the Xuanyuan creation, a dazzling beam of light burst out from Yachuo's palm. Particles mixed with tachyons, and the superposition attack of various unknown substances caused waves of surges on the surface of Xuanyuan Genesis. The Xuanyuan creation was actually injured. This is the first substantial damage to Xuanyuan Genesis since the birth of Xuanyuan Genesis. At the position where the beam of light bombarded just now, the sea-eclipsed purple light surged along with Xuanyuan Xuangxi's pitch-black body. Although it seemed that there was no damage, Yachuo's blow just now had a real impact on Xuanyuan Xuangxi. Number. With Qin Sheng's order, Xuanyuan Genesis, which is wrapped in space, intends to make a supercosmic membrane leap, and keep a distance from Yachuo. But at this moment, Yachuo waved his big hand, and at the moment when the deformed space caused by gravitational pull was about to wrap the Xuanyuan creation, the space was torn apart again and returned to silence. Qin Sheng's heart sank. As expected of the ancient god Titan, the power he possessed was beyond Qin Sheng's comprehension today. Among the 7th-level civilizations, I am afraid that this life court has reached an unimaginable state in a higher dimension. Plane strike. This time, Qin Sheng activated the 3rd row of the demon of the plane, and when the light blue light emerged, the body of Xuanyuan Genesis rose from an attack from a higher dimension. The bright beam of light, accompanied by the power of reducing dimensionality, sent Yachuo's figure flying upside down, and flew hundreds of light years in the star field before he could barely stop. But this blow obviously did not cause much damage to Yachuo. The thick armor on his body swallowed and absorbed a large amount of power. Not one. Plane tearing. Qin Sheng didn't intend to give Yachuo time to breathe, and then a crack opened up from the second leg of the demon of the plane, and locked on Yachuo's body across a distance of hundreds of light years. There seems to be a connection between the two. When the power of the plane is implemented on Yachuo, the space tear that spans the two worlds comes. Boom. Thousands of light years of star fields were completely shattered by this surface tear, and violent suction spewed out from the space rift, which was even enough to pull the planet and drag the devouring king into the space rift. The Judgment Holy Sea wished to cut Qin Sheng into pieces. This is the star field territory where he tried the Holy Sea. Each blow of the two is enough to leave thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years to ease over the next injury. Informed Deathwatch and Mechanicus to annihilate the Nether Dragon clan and Nova civilization. There was no pity in the eyes of the god envoy of judgment, as if he was a ruthless god of death. Following the order, Deathwatch and Mechanic cult sent news, we were stopped by the Daihao civilization. The god envoy of judgment who received this news was shocked. Why did Daihao civilization get involved in this matter? At this moment, in the midst of the battle, a ray of blue light suddenly rose, and the extremely pure energy body turned into a light cluster floating in, and the tentacles stretched out from it seemed to be pulling Yu Li Li Jiao sounded like a string in the universe, and a clear voice sounded from it. This is a matter for the Great Qin Empire and the trial of the Holy Sea. For other civilizations, just sit on the sidelines and don't want to get angry. As soon as the voice fell, the bright light cluster exploded, enveloping the entire Judgment Holy Sea galaxy within it. The news in this star field could not be conveyed to the outside world, and outsiders could not enter this galaxy. Just like Arena, in this battle, only one civilization is doomed to make it out alive. Let go and fight this Yachuo back to where he should belong. This battle will be enough for you to glimpse the ultimate universe. A Daihao's voice surfaced in Qin Sheng's ears, and at some point, a blue spiritual Daihao was already sitting in the command cabin of Xuanyuan Genesis. Qin Sheng was slightly taken aback. You trust me that much? You are the only hope of the three-dimensional universe. 62%. Chapter 297. The collision between the ancient god and the demon of the plane. Chapter 297. The collision of the ancient god and the demon of the plane. In a daze, Qin Sheng seemed to feel that there was something more on his body, but he couldn't explain it clearly. This Daihao looked at Qin Sheng with a vague smile on his face. Control your forbidden technology and defeat this ancient god. Qin Sheng recovered from the state of trance, and before he had time to think about what Daihao meant, following the manipulation of his mind, Xuanyuan Shuangshi's legs swung, heading straight for the ancient titan god Yachuo. When the feet bombarded Yachuo's body, each blow actually caused damage to Yachuo. Even though the thick armor could shield most of the power, the armor still had a drawback. The power of shock is unavoidable. Qin Sheng has already discovered that even though the Yachuo in front of him has reached the 7th level of technological civilization or even higher, the way to operate his power is still the same as when he was selected. This is like the mechanical barrier that Qin Sheng found. Even though it is a creation of a 7th level civilization, because the technology is too ancient, its shortcomings are extremely obvious. Under the current level of technology, it is not easy for 673 to find an armor that can perfectly isolate the shock force. Various light armors emerge endlessly, and for Yachuo in front of him, this heavy armor, even if it can resist every blow of Qin Sheng, but can't be perfect. Sure enough, after the bombardment of this set of feet, which is so simple that it can be called melee combat, the light spots on Yachuo's head seemed a little dim. Qin Sheng shouted, Erosion Sea purple light can bombard. As the sea-eclipsing purple light slanted out, the majestic dark purple plasma gathered in the void to form an ocean, and it was far from being turned into an energy supply to maintain the beam of light. This time, the sea-eclipsing purple light energy the bombardment shattered the armor on Yachuo's chest. When a loophole was revealed, it was followed by 1,000 holes, and finally the armor on Yachuo's body was broken in 7s and 8s, revealing the body underneath. On the dark body that seems to be integrated with the nothingness of the universe, there is a river of stars flowing, but Yachuo stands there, like a small universe. Although this is only an incarnation of Yachuo's body, its power is obviously enough to surpass the entire three-dimensional universe. When the heavy armor on the body surface was removed, Yachuo seemed to be relieved. The power erupting from the body became more powerful. With one palm, the entire star field began to be turbulent. The ground collapsed, and the powerful gravitational force gathered into a light cluster, smashing towards the Xuanyuan creation. If this blow was a solid one, Qin Sheng estimated that the Xuanyuan Shuangshi would be severely damaged. In the nick of time, the Xuanyuan Shuangxi made a space jump and barely avoided the blow. This is the case in Star Wars. Each other's battle bodies are huge to the extreme, even across a distance of hundreds of light years. They can be locked by sophisticated instruments, and if they are not deployed in advance, every round of attack is almost guaranteed to hit. Qin Sheng looked at Yachuo in front of him with lingering fear. Yachuo had a slender body, and his arms could almost hang down to the ground. On his head, 8 orange-red light spots were arranged in 2 rows. The majestic power seems to gather all the essence of the whole body. See where its weak point is. On the side, Di Hao asked softly. Qin Sheng said slowly, the 8 light spots on the head. It only needs to smash the 8 light spots, and the altar array set up by the god of life will also be shattered, and at the same time, Yachuo's body will return to its dimension under the ultimate suppression of the cosmic consciousness. Quote. As he said that, Di Hao slowly stretched out a finger. This is your only chance. When that spot of light turns from orange-red to crimson-red, it will no longer be able to cause city damage to it. Qin Sheng was startled when he heard this. If that time came, unless the divine cord of life voluntarily lifted the altar formation, even Qin Sheng would never be able to defeat the ancient titan in front of him. Then make the strongest blow. With Qin Sheng's thought, there was a rumbling sound in the whole universe, as if thousands of troops and horses were rushing on the plain, and the noisy sound of collision of feet came from the depths of the void, followed by the sound of bangs. With a bang, a huge hole was blasted out above the dome of the universe. This hole connects the nightmare plane. Qin Sheng didn't plan to deal with Yachuo anymore. Since it was a fight to the death, he should use his strongest trick. As for Xuanyuan Genesis, the strongest move is to summon the main body to attack. After a 32-year journey through the subspace, Xuanyuan creation, which devoured the husks of the void, ushered in a great transformation. The last time this channel was opened up, it could only accommodate a leg of the lower body, but now, this light hole stretches for hundreds of thousands of light years, and Qin Sheng can even see the nightmare plane through this crack. Among them, the large body of the demon of the plane. And in that nightmare plane, countless horrific scenes impacted Qin Sheng's senses. When the eyes of the demon of the plane locked on Yachuo's body, Yachuo folded his hands together, and in an instant a light wheel appeared behind Yachuo. When the light wheel was spinning, the ultimate power of the universe suddenly emerged. Out. This ancient power seems to be centered on Yachuo, slowly moving, and sweeping towards the surroundings. When the coercion blows over every star, no matter whether it is a star or a planet, all of them explode and destroy in an instant. Even no star core remains. Obviously, this is Yachuo's strongest move. Tisk, it really is this trick. Boy, look carefully. Whether you can fully understand the ultimate universe depends on your own perception. Di Hao spoke slowly. Chu Xian firmly grasped the armrest of the seat below him with his palm, while Nova was almost sticking to the porthole. The magnificent scene in front of him made Nova feel shocked. Of course, if the current hurdle cannot be passed, then this will be the last scene that Nova will see. In the gap in the space, the head of the demon of the plane poked out of the crack, and the small half of his body was able to pass through the limitation between the planes, revealing in the present world. When it appeared, countless fine golden thunderbolts swept from all directions, stimulating the surface of the demon in the plane. The ultimate bombardment of the universe seemed to have not affected the demon of the plane at all. The legs swung, and dozens of legs aligned in 2 rows, stabbing at Yachuo. The collision between the ancient gods and the demons of the plane is at this moment. 62%. Chapter 298 The defeated Yachuo, the true face of the envoy. Chapter 298 The destroyed Yachuo, the true face of the god envoy. When this blow that was enough to penetrate the entire galaxy fell, the star field that the Holy See was relying on also began to fall apart. The power of the nightmare plane descended like a natural disaster, sweeping across the entire present universe, so violent that unspeakable power filled every crack in the void, even threatening the existence of subspace. The red-gold thunder struck on the body of the demon of the plane, but it was unable to cause any damage to the demon of the plane. This strongest law of the Fang universe seemed powerless in the face of the demon of the plane. In front of his eyes, dozens of rows of feet pierced Yachuo's leather surface, but the ancient titan god Yachuo couldn't resist at all. When the demon of the plane controlled the strongest power of law in this universe, Yachuo also became insignificant. 1. That's it. Observe the application of the rules of the universe. This is the best way for you to reach the ultimate. Di Hao nodded and said with satisfaction. Through the porthole, Qin Sheng watched the body of the demon of plane wreaking havoc in the universe, and couldn't help thinking, if the four evil gods were to come here, would they be the opponent of the demon of plane? When the four rows of demons of the plains came together and bombarded Yachuo's head, Yachuo finally began to resist. In an instant, a dazzling beam of light burst from the boundless universe, and all the stars' rays were washed away under this beam of light. Became a nebula. The thick nebula hangs around Yachuo, as if Yachuo won the dominance of this universe from the hands of the demon of the plane in an instant, turned the disadvantage into an advantage, and launched a counterattack. When Wei Luo fell on the body of the demon of the plane, even the surface of the demon of the plane from the nightmare plane was deeply sunken. The confrontation between the two has long been out of the limit of this universe, and Qin Sheng is completely unable to intervene at this moment. Even if Xuanyuan Genesis rushes into the battle with the current power, it will not be able to play any role at all. Roll. Congratulations on obtaining the remnant of the ancient god Titan. 10,000 times increase. Congratulations, you have obtained the qualification to visualize the ancient god of Titans times 1. Congratulations on obtaining the remnant of the ancient god Titan. 10,000 times increase. Congratulations, you have obtained the qualification to visualize the ancient god of Titans times 1. Congratulations on obtaining the remnant of the ancient god Titan. 10,000 times increase. Congratulations, you have obtained the qualification to visualize the ancient god of Titans times 1. Why? A single Titan Ancient God Remnant Soul reward has reached the upper limit, and no more resources can be obtained. 3 consecutive system prompts echoed in Qin Sheng's ears, and Qin Sheng felt a sense of unreality in his trance. In Qin Sheng's palm, 3 blue light spots suddenly appeared, arranged in a line. And Qin Sheng could clearly feel that as long as he was activated with spiritual energy, the spot of light could instantly transform into an ancient Titan god who was no less inferior to Yachuo, descending into this world. The system has been changed like this. As early as in the subspace, Qin Sheng had already noticed that the transformation of the system was extraordinary, but now it seems that the transformation of the system is far more than what Qin Sheng thought. This qualification of the Titan Ancient Gods is not at all existing in the current universe or in any dimension. The technology or a certain application method that should appear, from a fundamental point of view, is more like a spontaneous creation of the system. Means. Qin Sheng sensed the power in it, and then the corner of his mouth raised a curve. It seems that this worldly universe can't let me stay any longer. The strength of the ancient god Titan is obvious to all, and in Qin Sheng's view, there is no need to use the qualification of the ancient god Titan in the slightest, and the demon of the plane alone is enough to solve it. As for these 3 precious materialization qualifications, Qin Sheng plans to activate them when he enters the subspace to show his skills. In front of him, Yachuo had already begun to be unable to do what he wanted, and the demon of the plane, whose body was still in the nightmare plane, was not affected at all, and his power was continuously replenished, and even this star field had begun to be attacked, the tendency to assimilate the nightmare plane. In the end, when the 8 eyes on Yachuo's head were almost red, the demon of the plane poked out its head like a locust, and its huge mouthparts bit at Yachuo's head, causing a huge share of Ink Green's blood. At the same time, the formation was destroyed, and in the present universe, the inheritance civilization belonging to the Life God Court suddenly burst out a white light, which illuminated a distance of hundreds of light years, covering the entire Life God Court. Shrouded in it, and finally destroyed. 0. Summoning a Titan Ancient God's formation to counterattack is not something that a mere 6-level civilization peak can bear. When the body of the ancient Titan began to collapse and be destroyed, the eyes of the God Envoy of Judgment were filled with scarlet. No, impossible. How can you destroy my plan? It's impossible. The Envoy of Judgment roared angrily. The void around his body began to tremble, and countless pitch-black tentacles protruded from the fine cracks, wrapping the Envoy of Judgment in it, changing the consciousness of the Envoy of Judgment. In just a few breaths, the psychic power that the Judgment God Envoy is proud of has undergone a huge change, turning into an outright chaotic power. Sure enough, you old thief may have already colluded with chaos. Oh, he. Collusion. Dense sarcoids burst out from the body of the Judgment God Envoy, and the body, which was originally similar to the human race, also turned in the direction of a chaotic demon. The only difference is that this God of Judgment seems to have integrated all the power of the 4 evil gods. It has 2 horns on its head, and its body is slender like a swimming snake. There are gorgeous wings growing on its back, and the water flowing on its body surface dirt as the grace of a loving father. This guy. Qin Sheng frowned slightly. Although he had dealt with the Chaos Demon countless times, it was still hard for Qin Sheng to accept the appearance of the Judgment God envoy. In the last life, no one pushed the Holy Sea of Judgment to such a dead end, and naturally they would not make the envoy of the Judgment reveal their true colors. In this life, under the impetus of Qin Sheng, the Holy Sea of Judgment finally revealed its dark fangs. Or, to put it another way, to judge God for an irreparable sin committed by a person. In the distance, the demon body of the plane has begun to withdraw from the nightmare plane, and Xuanyuan Genesis's sea-eclipsed purple light energy reserve is also empty, unable to maintain the demon body of the plane coming. At this moment, Dai Hao slowly raised his hand. It's okay, I have already deployed Dai Hao civilization here. Since you have solved Na Yachuo, the rest of the troubles will naturally be handed over to Dai Hao civilization. Saying that, Dai Hao's figure disappeared under a mass of blue light, and the next moment, countless holes of light appeared in the surrounding space, and Dai Hao's civilization descended. 62%. Chapter 299. Dai Hao makes a move, the space changes. Chapter 299. Dai Hao makes a move, spatial changes. When the surrounding light curtains dissipated, the star field sealed off by the Dai Hao civilization was completely presented in the sight of all the civilizations present. Yachuo's dilapidated, already destroyed huge body drifted in the universe, and gradually collapsed and disintegrated under the erosion of the rules of the universe. And the residual power left by the demon of the plane in this star field still frightens the senses of the cosmic civilization community. That terrifying power is enough to shred even the ancient titans, not to mention their civilizations that haven't reached the 7th level yet. The ultimate ownership of the universe is already a certainty. In the end, when the eyes of these civilizations fell on the Judgment God envoy who had completely deformed and turned into a chaotic demon, everyone showed expressions of disbelief. What kind of strange 507 is that? How can it be possible to fuse the power of the 4 evil gods? Impossible, there can be such a chaotic demon. Damn it, the God of Judgment lied to us, that guy has already taken refuge in the subspace. What is the reason? I don't believe it, I don't believe that the Holy Sea will betray us. Countless discussions surfaced among these civilized warships that were originally intended to besiege the Great Qin Empire. After all, it was the God of Judgment who really turned into a chaos demon, and judging from its appearance, it did not seem at all that it was captured when it was not on guard. The power of chaos erodes, but accepts the power of chaos. Otherwise it would be impossible to blend so perfectly. This is common sense for everyone, and there are often beings assimilated by the subspace in their respective clans due to the practice of psionic energy. These people present are well aware of the process of transforming a living body into a chaotic demon. Only by dedicating all of one's mind to the evil god of the subspace, can one accept the power of chaos so thoroughly. But now the scene presented before everyone's eyes clearly shows that the Judgment God envoy has become a product of chaos. Damn it, it seems that it is the Judgment Holy Sea that has been hindering the development of the cosmic civilization community. Who of you dare to say that you haven't traded with the Judgment Holy Sea? I'm afraid that the object technology obtained from the Judgment Holy Sea is tainted with the atmosphere of chaos. This is the fundamental reason why we have stopped moving forward. Kill. Cut this offal into pieces. The voice of discussion turned into overwhelming abuse in just a few breaths. Qin Sheng was not surprised by this situation at all. To put it bluntly, this group of guys are the top 6-level civilization in the universe. To put it bluntly, they are just a group of villains who play with the wind. It depends on who has the stronger momentum and leans towards which side. Long before Qin Sheng Bian already knew this. But at this very moment, Dai Hao's civilization was mobilized in full force, and it was too late to hit the God of Judgment. The body of the God of Judgment has spread from less than 2 meters high to a huge size of more than 10 light years, and the spiritual power has frantically poured into the body of the God of Judge from the subspace, strengthening it to visualize. Qin Sheng rubbed his chin, and steered the Xuanyuan Genesis to sail into the distance. Now the ancient titan god Yachuo has been torn apart by the minions of the demon body of the plane, and the rest of the God of Judgment will be handed over to Dai Hao as civilized. In the star field, Zonlin's light ships are like crystals floating in the void, with extremely pure spiritual power surging on them. Live in the world in a state of pure spirituality. As for its battleship, the same is true. The spiritual power flowing in the light ship and the negative emotions in the subspace come from the same source, but it is much more holy than it. At this moment, compared with the God of Judgment who has fallen into madness, Kong Shidiji civilization is more like a hard-working judge. The lightship slowly rotated, and a star wheel that spanned thousands of years appeared in the universe under the movement of the lightship. It was engraved with complicated and obscure runes. Obviously, it also came from ancient technology. The moment the star wheel appeared, an all-encompassing star map appeared in the hands of a Daihao in a spherical shape. Looking closely, all the stars and galaxies covered by the star wheel were wrapped in the star map. Middle. Daihao's fingers expanded or contracted to manipulate the star field map. At the same time, the star wheel also exuded an extremely strong force, twisting and controlling the cosmic membrane within thousands of light years, controlling it. Under Daihao's manipulation, the world of the present world has also undergone great changes, and these forces have all acted on the body of the god envoy of judgment that has turned into a chaotic demon. Quote exclamation mark. Quote. The god of judgment wailed in pain. Scars that seemed to have been burned by flames surfaced on the body of the god of judgment. Each of these scars went deep into the bone marrow, stimulating the projection that had already appeared in the subspace, the body of the judgment god envoy. Since you betrayed the universe and took refuge in the subspace, our family has determined that you will uproot the judgment holy sea. Now, with the help of the Great Qin Empire, this process has been accelerated even more. The growth rate of the Great Qin Empire is beyond our family's imagination. It has only been a snap of our fingers since we got the inheritance of our Daihao family, but it has already stood at the highest point in the universe. And you judge the Holy See, under your leadership, stand still and want to destroy the life community of the universe. It is simply wishful thinking. Today your conspiracy failed, you should be punished for your crimes, and you will never recover. As Daihau's voice fell, the star wheel slowly rotated, and the huge wheel shining with brilliance circled around the star field. In just a short moment, the speed reached the limit, and in a short while, the entire Judgment Holy Sea, the star field, is blocked, all creatures in it are imprisoned, and their souls are suppressed. Daihao slowly raised his hand, countless blue brilliance wrapped around the battleships except the Judgment Holy Sea, and left this star field. And a series of laser beams spanning thousands of light years connected the two sides of the star wheel, bombarding indiscriminately within the sphere of influence of the Judgment Holy Sea. 0.2. Like a meat grinder, it has to be said that the Daihao civilization is really powerful, at least much stronger than the Judgment Holy Sea, which has long since come to an end. When the star wheel was running, the body of the god envoy of judgment was swept away by the laser light and shattered in an instant. In the distance, Qin Sheng frowned slightly. Is this guy like this? As soon as this idea came up, the entire star field surrounded by the star wheel shook violently, like an earthquake in the universe. The next moment, the space collapsed, and an eye of subspace that lasted thousands of light years emerged. Boom! A loud noise came out, and the huge bird's claws pressed into the void. The next moment, the chaotic demon body transformed by the envoy of the judge rushed out of the subspace. Accompanied by it, there is also boundless subspace power, enveloping the universe and eroding it. 62%. Chapter 300 The Ancient God of Titans Comes Again, Gundam. Chapter 300 The Ancient God Titan Comes Again, Gundam. When the chaotic demon transformed by the god of judgment leaned out half of its body, the eye of the subspace was instantly torn across tens of thousands of light years, wrapping the huge body of the god of judgment, and spanning the entire star field belonging to the Holy Sea of Judgment. You all have to die, all of you have to die. The god envoy of judgment roared, and the sound waves spread hundreds of thousands of light years away, echoing in the vast starry sky. The power of the god envoy of judgment is probably no less powerful than that of a 7th-level demon. Qin Sheng's eyes narrowed slightly. The enemy in front of him was definitely not easy to deal with. Elise, activate the backup energy, destroy these spaces, and absorb the sea-eroding purple light energy from them. This battle must have our help, otherwise, it may be difficult to parry with the Daihao civilization alone. Obey. Elise also sensed the seriousness in Qin Sheng's tone, and hurriedly activated the Xuanyuan Genesis to turn on the backup energy source. In an instant, dozens of black giant pillars slowly stretched out from the back of the Xuanyuan Genesis. This giant pillar is rooted in the universe, penetrates the present universe, and absorbs the power of the void from the subspace. 28 The power of the void can be more effectively transformed into sea-eclipsing purple light energy than from black holes in the present universe. 1%, 2%, 3%. The sea-eclipse purple light energy reserve is increasing little by little. According to Qin Sheng's deduction, it will take at least 10 minutes to fully replenish it. For today's Xuanyuan Xuangxi, it is already extremely fast to replenish all the energy for combat readiness in 10 minutes. It would take at least 10 days and a half a month to prepare for other ordinary 6-level peak civilizations to replenish all the energy of the flagship. But the severity of the moment, let alone 10 minutes, whether Daihao civilization can survive 3 minutes is a question. That is a 7th-level demon. The arrival of Stika, who was once the peak of the 6th-level monster, if Qin Sheng hadn't hit with all his strength, his iron cavalry would be irresistible to the civilizations in the present universe. No matter how strong the Daihao civilization is, how should it deal with a 7th-level demon? This big demon presents in the present universe with spiritual power, and it is fundamentally different from the ancient god Titan. The ancient god Titan cannot get energy supplies from higher dimensions, but with the eyes of this subspace, the god of judgment can be said to have mastered it. A steady stream of power. On the azure blue light ship, Dihao frowned tightly, and said so. The next moment, light mist wrapped Dihao's body, and transported Dihao to the Xuanyuan creation. How long will it take for Tuan to perform the same thing as before? At least 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Too long. I'm afraid I won't last that long. After a pause, Dihao continued. I never thought that the Judgment God Envoy would be favored by the 4 evil gods. The power of the 4 evil gods is gathered in one body. Such an ultimate monster is beyond my ability to deal with. I understand. Let your people retreat. As he spoke, the corner of Qin Sheng's mouth curled up. I still have a whole card. A gleam flashed in Daihao's eyes. Do you still have a whole card? How much of the great Qin Empire is unknown to them? Nova and Chu Qin on the side also showed doubts in their eyes, and their eyes fell on Qin Sheng. This man seemed to be like this all the time, always able to come up with a solution that was sufficient to solve the problems in front of him. With the disappearance of Dihao, all the blue light ships were fleeing to the distance, and in just a few short breaths, they had completely escaped from the distance of hundreds of thousands of light years. And the remaining civilized warships have nothing to do with Qin Sheng. As early as when Qin Sheng was polishing the Xuanyuan Genesis in the subspace, this group of guys had made trouble for the Void Dragon clan, the Nova civilization, and the Great Qin Empire, and Qin Sheng hadn't settled with them yet. In this battle, the more dead the better. At this time, the God Envoy of Judgment, who has been completely insane, doesn't care whether these civilizations have joined forces with him before. On his hideous and terrifying head, his bloody mouth is full of anger, and the flames spray like hell, falling into the void. Even the space is being burned by it. Millions of warships were destroyed in an instant. Qin Sheng nodded in satisfaction. It seems that this guy's combat effectiveness is not bad. At this moment, the Xuanyuan creation is still keeping a safe distance from the God of Judgment, but if the huge body of the God of Judgment wants to chase Qin Sheng, it may take only a few seconds to reach here. Black's huge pillar is still continuously delivering energy to Xuanyuan creation, but Qin Sheng's trump card is not the blow from the demon body of the plane. It was a reward given by the system when he fought the ancient Titan god Yachuo just now. Soon, when the God of Judgment destroyed almost all the warships of civilization in this star field, Qin Sheng finally chose to take action. When streams of dazzling light began to flow from Qin Sheng's palm, a huge red light mirror was abruptly pulled out in front of the Xuanyuan creation, and a giant palm stretched out from the light mirror. The next moment, the ancient god Titan who was covered with Zihong for battle stepped out of it. His body was no smaller than the God Envoy of Judgment who had turned into a chaos demon, and even worse. When the ancient god Titan appeared, everyone was stunned. A trace of confusion flashed in the eyes of the God of Judgment. Is this the second ceremony performed by the Court of Life? In the distance, among the Daihao 637 civilization warships, Daihao stared blankly at the arrival of the ancient Titan god, at a loss for what to do. Last time, Na Yachuo was completely defeated by the all-out attack of the demon of the plane, so what will happen this time? Chaos demons and ancient Titan gods are on both sides. Is it really going to be a disaster for the universe? But just as the Emperor Hao civilization was racking their brains to find a countermeasure, the Xuanyuan creation was slowly rising, and finally landed on the neck of the ancient god Titan, and the sharp leg pierced the back of the ancient god Titan. Suddenly the ancient god Titan became Qin Sheng's puppet. This is the whole card of the Great Qindi Kingdom. Why can the Great Qindi Kingdom summon the ancient god Titan? This is wrong, this is wrong. At this moment, even Dihao, who has always been good at strategizing, fell into madness. Right in front of him, the Great Qin Empire had casually summoned an ancient Titan god, and it looked like it was stronger than the original Naya Tuo summoned by the God of Life. Back and forth even only took a few short breaths. This method is so much better than the Life God. Qin Sheng sat on the Xuanyuan creation, and in front of him, a figurative console appeared in the form of a light curtain. The sight of the ancient god Titan also emerged from the porthole, and Qin Sheng grinned. Is this what it's like to drive a Gundam? Tisk. It's wonderful. To drive a Gundam. Tisk. It's wonderful. To drive a Gundam.